Under the shadow of the arch and the mighty Mississippi, St. Louis is known as the gateway to the West. Today, the city opens its arms to NASCAR, and the sport's toughest broncs are ready to bust through a gateway of their own. Gateway International Raceway, located just a few miles outside of downtown St. Louis. All of NASCAR's Truck Series stars are here. They've won at this track, and they want to do it again today. Matt Crafton looking for his first St. Louis win. The track, of course, sitting in the shadow of our country's tallest monument. The arch stands guard, while NASCAR's guard gets ready to turn some arcs of their own. You are about to be set up. Welcome to the setup. I'm Krista Voda. While weather dominates the headlines, battling up and down the East Coast, here in the Midwest, we feel almost guilty. We have had beautiful weather, as you can see, and we have been dry the last 2 days. And with racing postponed out in Richmond, that means this race today, the only NASCAR show in town. We are so glad you are here to join us. Let's go ahead and get you caught up with some of the headlines that have been going on in the Truck Series, starting with a NASCAR change. They've changed the tapered spacers. In effect, this limits the horsepower to the Toyota engines. Toyota, of course, has won the last 4 Truck Series races. Also, some driver changing news. Brian Scott will join Bill Davis Racing next season. Scott currently drives the number 16 Express Motorsports Chevy, but Express has formed an agreement with BDR and will switch over to Toyota beginning in Vegas. Also, TRG Motorsports making a change. Donnie Leo, one of our former winners this season, he is out. Andy Lally will be driving the 71 today. Lally coming off a win in his class in the Rolex Grand Am Sports Car event at New Jersey last week. Also, one final note, Bobby Hamilton Racing has scaled back their operations. The 4 is not racing today. They're putting all their focus and energy into the number 18 of Dennis Setzer. And with more on that story and that organization, Ray Dunlap.
Well, Krista, it's certainly a different look to this number 18 truck today. You see it's red and white. You've got the Dodge logos here. Dennis Setzer at the front of the field today. It's been since 2001 since this team and a Dodge was on the pole. But I do have some information for you. Next year, when we go to Daytona in 2009, Bobby Hamilton Racing will not be in a Dodge. It's almost hard to comprehend that there won't be a Ram logo on their truck. Why? Well, Dodge Motorsports is scaling back their involvement in the Craftsman Truck Series. They're not leaving, but there will not be any factory-sponsored teams, and there will not be any Dodge-sponsored teams. And that's pretty big news. This team's been awfully good to Dodge, but next year, we're not sure we'll even see any Rams in the field.
Wow, Ray, big news indeed. Of course, all the news that we have, and if you watched our qualifying show, a lot of news nuggets going on this week. You'll continue to hear all about those in today's race. You know, the Truck Series was off last weekend. In fact, it was the seldom used midweek special. A Wednesday night truck race at Bristol was the last time we saw these boys. Do you remember what happened? These competitors do. Here's a look back at Bristol from last Wednesday.
Beat and bang, root and gouge, swapping paint. It's short track racing.
We're going to see short track racing, and it's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series style.
We're going to see fireworks here very shortly when they turn them loose.
Green flag is out from Bristol. We're underway.
A couple of trucks trying to make it rumble. Top side.
Lots of bumping and shoving going on.
I can't predict what we're going to see. I just know it's going to be fun to watch.
Oh, these guys on the front stretch. A big accident here. Whoa, he got his hands full. Oh, he's still fighting it. He gets turned around.
We have got a junkyard of wrecked race trucks.
Right in front of the traffic, there's contact made. Kyle Busch will win his 3rd race of 2008.
And if you are scoring at home, here are the numbers. No wonder BHR is focusing on Setzer. He is back in the top 10 this week. He and Rick Crawford, the only guys who move up. Darnell drops a position, and the top 5 remain the same. Look at that. Johnny Benson, he is starting to pull away. Adam Alexander standing by with Mr. Momentum.
And the momentum coming in the last 8 races, top 5s in 7 of those events. And Johnny won this race a year ago, but in that event, you started 4th. 14th is where you roll today. So what's the key to getting to the front, JB?
Well, we're definitely going to have to be quicker than qualifying, that's for sure. But Trey Bruce and the guys week in and week out give us good equipment. I feel really good about our truck. I mean, it's cutting through the corners really well, and it's doing the things I want it to do. So it's just a little bit too slippery for qualifying, but Toyota certified used vehicles Tundra should be in decent shape today, and I'm looking forward to the run.
119 points, the lead for Johnny Benson over second place Ron Hornaday in the standings, and his quest for a championship continues today. Ray?
And Adam, not only a second place in the standings, but at this racetrack, you've had a second place twice in the trucks, second place twice in Nationwide. What's it going to take to get the win today, Ron?
I don't know. I was trying to listen over what Johnny was saying so I could see what his strategy was. But no, Rick Ridden and the guys done a great job in the Campbell and Chevrolet, and very surprised it qualified that well. I thought we were going to be loose, but it was a little free getting in. But we're looking forward to the race. Campbell will sponsor this thing, so we definitely need a win here, so we're going to try.
That would be a good one to get. Get a win in the Camping World Race. Ron Hornaday looking forward today here at Gateway.
All right, thanks, Ray. Adam, definitely two players in today's race, that's for sure. You know, this truck race, this event here at Gateway has become somewhat infamous. Back in 2004, NASCAR decided to do away with multiple green-white checker finishes. So the Truck Series, well, they sent off that policy with a bang. 4 restarts later, it was David Starr in victory lane. Now, David Starr has not yet won a race this year, still looking for his first victory, as is another young man who you will learn more about as the Truck Series setup rolls on.
Coming up on the setup, what did these Truck Series troublemakers do to get called to the principal's office in school?
Wanted to beat up on people and wrestle people.
I've been sent to the principal's office until I finally just gave up and quit school.
Chad McCumbee talks about the challenges facing a young up-and-coming driver in NASCAR. All this and more when the setup returns from St. Louis, live on Speed.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series setup is brought to you by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. And by Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership. Nobody beats Aaron's nobody.
A lot of different faces have been in victory lane. 10 races here at St. Louis, 9 different winners. Johnny Benson, of course, our most recent. You know, the Truck Series has a reputation for being a little bit rough. The drivers, they're known for being bullies. Well, have they always been that way? I mean, here, if they get in trouble, they get sent to NASCAR's big truck. But were these the same guys who, when they were young, got sent to the principal's office?
I've been sent to the principal's office until I finally just gave up and quit school.
I will say that I've been to the principal's office before, especially in high school.
I have an older brother and a younger brother, Johnny and Jimmy, and my grandparents called us the termites because we got into everything. And you can imagine being in the school, elementary school, junior high, even high school. I lived in the principal's office.
I was a good boy. I was not an honor roll student, but I stayed away from trouble, kind of like I do in racing.
I wanted to beat up on people and wrestle people. I was constantly in the office. It seemed like the principal of my elementary school was best friends with my parents.
I was actually homeschooled, so I guess the principal's office was my dad.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Worried about getting in trouble at school, but what I was worried about was when they called my dad. I tried to bargain with the principal, say, hey man, I won't ever get in trouble again. Just don't call my dad. You know what I mean?
I went to a private school, so we had to have our hair cut short and whatnot. And every once in a while, I get sent to the principal's office for not having my hair cut as short as I needed to, or I have a bad habit of pulling pranks.
We had assembly, and at the time I was racing motocross, and I took my motorcycle to school one day. I took it and did a wheelie through the thing, so I wasn't sent to the principal's office. I was actually in the police station, and I was everywhere that day.
I think it was about 3rd grade. We had our little bathroom break, and there was a kid in the bathroom that me and my buddy didn't like. And so for whatever reason, while he was using the urinal, I decided it would be a good idea to pull him away from it. Somebody made a mess, and I got called to the principal's office. Other than that, no, I was a pretty good kid in school. I don't know why that even happened.
You know how hair smells really bad when you burn it? Well, I did that on the bus. It wasn't that big a deal. I got kicked off the bus, but it was not a big deal. Not like I blew anything up.
I remember you used to take the Bic ink pens, you know, the clear ones, and you'd pull the ink tube out of the end of it, and then you'd have a little coat hanger, and you'd get spitballs and wad them up and pack one in there at the end, really good, ready to fire and put one at the top, and them suckers were loud and they hurt, and I got in trouble for that a couple times.
Okay, so to recap, Sprague put dents in his classmate's skin, Benson lit a kid's hair on fire, Hornaday did a burnout across the playground, and Darnell let a kid pee all over himself. No wonder they say that these boys don't play nice. Ray, I'm sure you got called to the principal's office a time or two in your day.
Actually, Krista, there was one chair in the principal's office for everybody else and one that had my name on it, but this guy really showed him how today. Up on the pole, congratulations, Dennis. What a great momentum builder for BHR Virginia.
Thank you, Ray. You know, I appreciate the effort everybody's put out in this thing this week. They went through some changes, some growing pains, or whatever you may want to call it, to try to continue to stay alone. They're all trying to secure sponsorship to keep this program living, and you know, I appreciate the opportunity for Bobby Hamilton Racing.
A great run for Dennis Setzer. He's on the pole. Now let's go to Adam.
Todd Bodine starts 5th today here at Gateway, and I'm looking at these conditions. Sunshine today, cloudy and cool yesterday. How's that going to impact the race for you guys, Todd?
Well, that's a darn good question. I think the biggest thing, the track's going to have a lot less grip. So whatever condition you had yesterday is going to be worse, you know. So, you know, hopefully we got a good balance in our Lumber Liquidators Tundra. You know, we didn't do any qualifying runs yesterday, so we didn't know what we had, and got a good spots here starting 5th, and you know, it's 160 laps, and the key to St. Louis is being around at the end. You know, it's a tough little short track, even though it's a mile.
And he does know how to win here. Led 66 laps in going to victory lane 2 years ago.
All right, thanks, Adam. Well, one of the big stories in NASCAR this week revolved around the kid they call sliced bread. Well, guess what? That bread is starting to rise. It has been announced that Joey Logano will race full-time in the Cup Series next year for Joe Gibbs Racing. He was scheduled to make his Cup debut this weekend at Richmond, but when qualifying got canceled, so did that debut. He will try again next week. But in the meantime, as Logano continues to succeed in the Nationwide Series, well, so does the young man who has taken his place in his old series, the NASCAR Camping World East Series. We're talking about Mark Davis. Davis is a development driver for Joe Gibbs Racing, and that development is about to hit a huge milestone, his Truck Series debut. Here you see Mark Davis's numbers in that Camping World East Series, doing very well today. He will be behind the wheel of the number 81 truck. And I believe Adam is with another one of our young guns, Colin Brown.
Yeah, in fact, he made his debut in this series not quite a year ago and has been very successful leading the Rookie of the Year standings. 13 of 17 times now you've started in the top 10 in this your first season. So what's it going to take to turn this 4th starting position into a solid finish today, Colin?
Well, you know, I wish we could have 13, 17 top 10s instead of starting in the top 10 finishes. But, you know, these guys have all worked real hard on this number 6 Conway Freight 450 truck. And, you know, it's great to be up there starting in the front every time. You know, you're racing around good guys like Todd and, you know, Ron Hornadays and Johnny Bensons and those guys. It makes it a little bit easier for you, but, you know, I guess starting up there, those guys are pretty good and they're aggressive at the start as well. So definitely a little bit of a challenge to try and get through some of those, you know, first few laps. But I think it'll be a good race for us. We've got a good truck. Matt Crucci's been working real hard on it, so I think we should be in good shape.
Not an easy track to learn on, but you got to start up front to be successful here, and Colin Brown's got that part down, Krista.
Yes, he certainly does. All right, thanks, Adam. You know, one of our favorite things, one of the best things, especially for the fans about the Truck Series, is that these guys don't just see their drivers on the track doing their pace laps and waving to the crowd. These guys actually get to meet the drivers. That's because every week the track will hold an autograph session. These guys were signing pictures at 9 a.m. They're going to be turning St. Louis laps just 4 hours later. Unbelievable, the access these fans have in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Just one of the many things we love about the trucks and their drivers. More of the Truck Series set up from Gateway just around the bend.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series setup is brought to you by Papa John's. Order by text message or online at papajohns.com. And by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears.
Boy, don't you know the nerves that Chad McCumbee has right now?
We might be sitting there thinking, yeah, bring it on, boys. I got you.
We're going to see maybe the 2 biggest laps of his entire life.
Oh, here he goes. He splits the tire. As they come in, he will get turned by Jack Springer. Right in front of the field they go. The wreck will happen once again, and that will be it. Look at the damage to this number 8 Chevy.
I looked back straight and I got jacked up there. So, you know, I mean, everybody's trying to win the race, and very disappointed.
Welcome back. The trucks lined up ready for our race in St. Louis, but boy, was that a heartbreaking day for Chad McCumbee, just 1.5 miles away from his first win in the Truck Series last November in Texas. You know, Chad McCumbee represents something very special, not just in racing, but in any field. No matter what you do, he is the underdog. If you are someone who's ever been counted out, chances are you'll relate to the story you're about to see.
In today's NASCAR world, sponsorship is just as important as the driver. For 23-year-old Chad McCumbee, the lack of funding has never seemed to stop him.
You know, it's tough coming in without a big financial help behind you. It was a struggle. I had a lot of local guys back in the Holden Beach area that were trying to help us out and would give us a little bit of money here and there to help run a race or two. I had a guy ask me one time, we were at a fairly large race, he's like, "Who does your stuff?" I didn't know what he meant, and I'm like, "Well, me and my dad," and he was really surprised about that. It's so tough because the new talent coming in now has got a sponsor with them, and it makes it that much easier. I feel proud that I've gotten as far as I've gotten without it. As time goes on, that's getting harder and harder to do, and like I said, I just feel really blessed that I was able to capitalize on good opportunities.
The lack of funds on the number 8 truck is only evident in the paint scheme, because the team was able to build on early momentum.
There at the beginning of the season, I think a lot of things went our way that they possibly could have went the other way. So it definitely means a lot, especially for what we're trying to do here, keeping everybody pumped up. You know, when you have a small amount of trucks, you've got to keep them all put together. And when we have bad weekends, these guys have got to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day to put them back together.
Oh, into the wall goes Chad McCumbee. Hard hit by the number 8, and that brings the caution out once again.
You know, I've obviously had to think about that my entire career, from driving for myself to driving for these guys.
Looks like Chad's mad at somebody. I thought his tire just blew out, but he seems to think that...
I think it might be the 51.
I think you've got to put that aside when it's time to go.
McCumbee looks to the outside.
You're fine.
Clears up the wall.
Mr. Michelson tells us every week before the race, you know, if you'll finish well. And that's been our motive most of the year. You know, our goals are always set high, and it seems like, you know, if I've set goals that are mediocre, as soon as I get to close to achieving those, I go ahead and bump them up and try to push myself.
McCumbee's aspirations are high, and a number of Cup teams are interested, especially Petty Enterprises.
I think that they look at a number of different things. I think, you know, that spark, you know, that surprise that you get out of a young driver that you never know what you're going to get. Being from North Carolina, I feel like I can relate to a lot of people over there at Petty Enterprises, and it really helps. You feel welcome. You feel at home over there, and the King is the same way. I mean, and when you know, he gives you advice, you better listen. I mean, it's always good advice, and he always shoots you straight. Hopefully, I'm in the running for that, and hopefully that's a potential program. And you know, like I said, I can't thank the Petty's enough for the opportunities they have given me so far. You know, hopefully we'll know something about the future here real soon.
Here are a look at McCumbee's truck numbers. He turned a lot of heads earlier this year in a Cup race when he gained 17 positions driving the number 45 at Pocono, starting 34th, finishing 17th. He is slated to run that car again for Kyle Petty, at least at Lowe's Motor Speedway in October. No question, Chad McCumbee is due for a win. I'm sure the guys upstairs agree. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Doug Richard are prepping for today's race. Guys, your thoughts, of course, on the event here today, but on our young guys, Chad McCumbee and others. Could they be the ones in victory lane?
Well, Chad McCumbee, what an amazing story. Here's a 23-year-old out of Supply, North Carolina, actually a movie star before he's become a racing star, as he was filling in or portraying the role of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the movie 3. And Phil, I mean, he's just one story that has come through this truck series.
He really is, and I remember talking to Dale Inman, Richard Petty's cousin, after his first start in a Cup car last year at Pocono, and how impressed Dale Inman was with what Chad McCumbee had done. He's only got an opportunity one time this year to get in that Cup car, and he had a top 20 finish at Pocono. But this series is a story of many guys that got their start here. Right. The Greg Biffles, the Kurt Bushes, the Carl Edwards, all got their start right here in the Craftsman Truck Series. We've got a lot of young guys here doing it today.
Yeah, now Doug, is this a place where a young guy could succeed here at Gateway?
I think you can. There's several young drivers in the field today. We got Colin Brown, we got the Chad McCumbees, we got the Mark Davis. They can all shine. They're all here making laps, and they make laps in quest of getting to the top series of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. That's what everybody's got in their mind, and this is a good place to start with.
We'll see how Chad McCumbee does today. Let's hear from him. He's with Adam Alexander.
And if he's the Truck Series underdog, I guess the question would be, Chad, what is it going to take to pull the ultimate upset and get this thing to victory lane today?
Well, we got a little work to do. These guys have actually got me a really great truck. We're having a pretty significant brake problem we can't get rid of, unfortunately, this weekend, and that set us behind a little bit and kind of kept us from being a little bit better. But I'm real happy with the way the truck's performing. We're continuing to get better and better, and we unladed great here, and it's not been a good place for us in the past. So continue improvement. Real happy with that. Like I say, we'll go back and work on the brakes, and we'll be even better at New Hampshire next week. But qualifying seemed to be a little positive indication, and we hopefully helped the brake problem a little. And if that's so, then I expect to go forward, not backwards.
And Krista, this is a team that early on was great at the intermediate tracks. They're starting to get better and better at the short tracks and places like here at Gateway as well.
Yes, indeed, Adam. He is a threat and one of the nicest guys in our series. It's a big football weekend, but you have found the best game in town. Dennis Setzer on the pole. All of NASCAR's Truck Series big dogs are ready to bite.
Races to go. The trucks head north to New Hampshire next week. Can defending race winner Ron Hornaday close the gap on points leader Johnny Benson? It all starts with the setup at 2:30, live from Loudon, only on Speed.
So that's where we will be next weekend. But your racing fix has been extended this weekend with that rain out. You'll have all sorts of NASCAR racing to watch tomorrow on all of your favorite channels. And of course, you can catch all the highlights on the Speed Report right here on Speed tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern live. Of course, we're talking pigskin, pounding rains. That's what's dominating headlines. But the only NASCAR show in town today is right here. Will JB build on his lead, or will Hornaday, Crafton, or Bodine hunt him down? The Camping World 200 presented on Speed by Dodge starts now.
The arch symbolizes the gateway to the West, St. Louis, home to stick and ball sports as well as racing and the Wallace family. Today, the race teams are working hard to get their drivers to victory lane, like Todd Bodine, who was there in 2006. He's got young drivers and veterans alike battling with him to find out who can find victory lane today. And they are all chasing Johnny Benson, our points leader, as we come into the next race on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season. Welcome to St. Louis and Madison, Illinois for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Camping World 200, presented on Speed by Dodge. A gorgeous day for racing here in the Midwest. We have St. Louis, Missouri just off to our west. Partly cloudy day, 72 degrees, very uncharacteristic of this time of the year in St. Louis. Take a look at our point standings through 16 races of the 2008 season. Johnny Benson with 119-point advantage over three-time series champion Ron Hornaday. Matt Crafton still in there, 156 points back. Todd Bodine moved up 2 spots into 4th, and Mike Skinner rounds out our top 5. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons and Doug Richard joining us here in St. Louis today. Now, Phil, a very unique racetrack. How does a driver tackle this one?
Well, it's a very unique and difficult racetrack. That's why the list of winners here is a who's who of this series with people like Todd Bodine and Johnny Benson. But, you know, we talk about the young guys. It's just a few moments ago. They haven't had that much success here because this is such a difficult racetrack. You have 2 completely different ends of the racetrack. Turn 1 and 2, extremely tight, banked a little bit more than the other end of the racetrack. The other end, wide sweeping, turns 3 and 4, a little bit flatter, more like a Milwaukee or a Loudon. So 2 complete different ends of the racetrack, and it's really a challenge for crew chiefs and drivers alike.
Well, yeah, Doug being a former crew chief, obviously you've got a challenging racetrack, and you've got drivers that are trying to figure it out. How do you set the truck up for them to handle around this track?
The other part of a tricky track is to keep up with the tricky setups that we all try to run here nowadays. So Colbine left front, Colbine right front. The big news to me, weather changed from yesterday. Excellent conditions, cool weather, great handling truck. Now the sun comes out and the temperatures are up, greasy track. Who will keep up with the best balance? for the entire race win.
Well, I think that's the big question also right now is who can keep up. Yesterday we saw Jack Sprague really dominate practice if you can do it, but he didn't look so good in qualifying.
He got real loose qualifying, and that really may bode well for the race because when you want these trucks to be good late in the run, they're going to be loose early on, and that's exactly how his truck was.
Well, we want to get this show underway, so we want to go back trackside for today's invocation.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask now that you please rise and remove your hats as we continue to honor our great nation. In the center pit area, representing the colors for today's World 200 presented by Honda Power Equipment, is the color guard representing the United States Coast Guard Intricate Support Command out of St. Louis, Missouri. And now for the day's invocation from the Midwest Racing Ministries, Pastor Greg Deshard.
Father, we are blessed people that stand before you today, blessed because your presence is here with us. You have given us such a beautiful day for racing here at Gateway International Raceway. And Father, as we stand before you, we pray that your presence would be with us. We pray that you would give protection to everyone on and off the track. And Father, that this day might glorify you. Bless this day of racing, for it's in your name we pray. Amen and shalom.
And now singing the national anthem of the United States of America, 2008 Miss Gateway International Raceway, Miss Carissa Bealey.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight and the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Spectacular crowd on hand, the hugs going out, the slaps on the back as the drivers are climbing into their trucks. When we come back, we'll fire the engines.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is presented on speed by Dodge. Live life to the fullest. Dodge. Grab life. Brought to you in part by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. And by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears.
And again, welcome back to Madison, Illinois. You get a very good shot of the arch over there in St. Louis, Missouri, just a couple miles west of where we are. Want to take a look at our Bass Pro track description. Again, 1.25 mile racetrack, but very unique turns on this track.
It really is, and this really doesn't tell the whole story. You see the banking down in turns 1 and 2, 11 degrees. It's a little bit more. Very, very tight. These guys will use all the brakes they have getting down in turn number 1. We heard Chad McCumbee talk about having a brake issue.
Right.
That's not something you want here at Gateway. And again, turns 3 and 4 a little bit flatter.
Yeah, they talk about brakes, but they talk about the adjustment, how they get that balance from front to rear, how much front they can use along with the rear. They're all adjustable, and you get problems with those sometimes.
Take a look at our Optima Batteries race analysis. 35 trucks will start. We go 200 miles. It's 160 laps. Now, the pit window obviously will be the big story here because you can make it on 2 stops.
Yeah, exactly. You can see 60 to 65 laps here, so more than likely this will be a 2-stop race. These guys will have essentially 4 sets of tires for this race, 1 on the truck, 3 in the pit, so they could stop as many as 3 times to put tires on.
I know we call this it's a super speedway because it's over a mile, but there will be a lot of brakes used here because of the relatively flat turns on this track, I would think.
Yeah, without a doubt, especially getting down in turn 1, as we talked about. Turn 3 is not quite as big a braking zone as it is down in turn 1.
Turn 1, much higher braking. Turn 3, a much more gradual corner, and you can let it drift up. Turn 1, you want to use all the brake you can. Keep it on the bottom to get that good line off the corner.
One thing we're going to see, obviously, there's the turns and the ends are somewhat tight, but there are some long straightaways here that they will be racing down like drag strips on either ends of the turns. Let's get the engines fired. We go down for the command.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the most famous words in motorsports, our Grand Marshal, representing Honda Power Equipment, Mr. John Lundy. Drivers, start your engine!
A very enthusiastic command given there as the engines are fired. 35 trucks come to life. The drivers are strapped in. The crews will go back over the wall. We're about to go racing. The green flag coming up next. Welcome back. A gorgeous day for racing in St. Louis, Missouri, and the area as the trucks begin to roll onto the racetrack. Let's let you know how they will start. Our starting grid rolls across the bottom of the screen. Dennis Setzer, with his 4th career pole, will lead the field to the green flag. He'll have a Chevy on his outside. Ron Hornaday, very good at restarts and starts. So it'll be an interesting start to this race as the crawl continues to go across the bottom of the screen for our starting grid. We want to shine a spotlight on a few different drivers. We like to do this each week just to let you know a little bit more about some of the drivers in this field. Let's start off with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I want to talk about Mark Mitchell. You know, this past week on Wednesday, Mark celebrated his 25th birthday. Said he took it pretty easy, just had dinner with his sister, but he's really looking forward to racing tonight here at the Gateway International Raceway. Why? Well, he says this is his kind of track. Now, Mark is just running a partial schedule, but today the number 15 truck rolls off 15, and his crew chief, Steve Dukowski, says what we've got to do today is finish, and if we do finish, we believe we've got a truck good enough to get a top 10. Adam?
Andy Lally starts 24th this afternoon. It's first time he's raced in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series since the early part of June. But he said when he put his schedule together, this was a race he definitely wanted to be a part of because he made his first ever oval stock car race start here a year ago in the ARCA REMAX Series, finishing in the top 10. He's not expected back in this truck throughout the remainder of the year, but if momentum means anything, he should be good today because he picked up 3 wins on road courses throughout the month of August. Phil?
Adam, I want to take a look at 18-year-old Mark Davis driving for Randy Moss Motorsports. He's going to drive a handful of races the rest of this season. He's sponsored by WHUR radio station, which is Howard University's radio station. He is currently 5th in the Camping World East Series points with a best finish of 2nd at Lime Rock on the road course. He will also run Talladega in an ARCA REMAX car for Benarini Motorsports in October, and he also ran an ARCA race this year at Pocono and finished in the top 10. Mark will start from the 12th position. Doug?
Yeah, mine today is Bradley Rothmeyer. I mean, this guy's running a USAC race in Concord. He gets out of the truck and he's talking to the guy. He says, do you want to run a truck? He says, but what I need you to do is get my equipment there to Gateway. So what's he do? He rents a tractor and trailer. He gets the equipment here. He has motor problems. He runs very few laps, very limited crew. But he is going to start the tail end of the field today in the number 54. It's owned by Jerry Reary. But the main goal for Bradley today is to get NASCAR's approval. So when we get ready to go to Texas, his home state, that he's got approval to debut a new sponsor there.
And that's a pretty good goal to set for some of these young drivers and guys that we're keeping a closer look at. We'll keep you up to date with the spotlights as we continue through the race. The Dodge on board today will be carried by our pole sitter, Dennis Setzer. So we will ride along with Dennis Setzer and Dodge in that number 18.
We're also going to ride along with Ted Musgrave in the Toyota onboard. Ted, the only two-time winner here at Gateway, won the championship back in 2005. That's the last time he won here at Gateway. He starts from the 19th spot.
Ted Musgrave won his 2 races here from the pole, so that might bode well for Dennis Setzer. Let's go back trackside before the green flag flies to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, you know, we were just at Bristol a week and a half ago, and Ron Hornaday had big problems there, and that was a big swing in the points. 119 separates he and Johnny Benson. But I want to look at how Johnny Benson finished the season a year ago. He came here to Gateway, he got a win. He ended the year at Homestead with a win, and look at all those great finishes in between. Only one bad run, and that was at Texas where they blew up. Benson had a 6.2 average finish to finish out the year, and if he does that this year, Ron Hornaday must finish 4th or better in every race the rest of the year to be in contention when we get to Homestead. Adam?
And when you look at Ron Hornaday, he has 36 career victories in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There are only 8 tracks where he has not gone to victory lane. One of them right here at Gateway International Raceway. But that doesn't mean success is not in the family. His teammate Jack Sprague won here in 2000. And the guy who calls the shots for him on the spotter stand, Rick Corelli, his spotter and, of course, the general manager at KHI, he won here in 1998. Cale Gale won here for KHI in an ARCA car, and Kevin Harvick has 2 nationwide series wins here. So the team has had great success. Hornaday hopes he can join that list here this afternoon, starting on the outside of row 1.
Again, the first 2 rows have won 7 of the 10 races run at Gateway. Will it be from a top 4 starting position? Will we see our winner go to victory lane? We're about to find out. The green flag is in the air. We're underway at Gateway. 160 laps of racing, 200 miles will decide who is our winner today. Ron Hornaday gets the lead as he goes out of turn number 2. He is so good on starts.
He drove it in turn number 1 so hard, and the thing stuck on the outside.
Now behind him, the field fanning out 3 wide as they go into turn number 3. Will this track accommodate 3 wide?
Well, it did there. Hopefully they won't do it that much and find out.
Now, Brian Scott could be on real low air pressure right now. It's going to take 3 to possibly 5 laps for the air pressure to get up to these guys to get the maximum grip.
And Doug, a lot of the guys we're talking about, these tires really not falling off that much. Whoa. Some of the guys, as we see Shane C get a little bit loose in the middle of 2 trucks, you've got Johnny Benson on the inside, Mark Davis on the outside, but some of these guys run their fastest laps, 30, 40 laps on their tires.
Yeah, and that says a lot for the tire that Goodyear brought here. It's a little bit different than last year, a little bit minimum cold pressure, they were telling me, but it seems to be holding up well. But some guys, a little too aggressive on camber, could damage that tire, and we'll have to wait and see at the end of the run.
You know, last year this really hurt Mike Skinner's championship hopes when he cut it down a right front tire and hit the wall here. So this race definitely played a role in the championship last year.
We see a lot of shots of that 23 of Johnny Benson. Does Johnny Benson start to maybe play it safe and not have as aggressive a setup or maybe aggressive of runs as he needs to because he's got a 119-point lead?
How about that 3-wide pass? I couldn't listen to you. I was watching that 3-wide pass that Rick Crawford was making, but I think absolutely not. I think Rick Crawford made some contact with the outside wall coming off
help from Todd Bodine. Todd Bodine got into the back of him a bit there.
These guys are really aggressive right now. Everybody wants to get up front. They want to get that clean air so they get the maximum downforce on the nose of these trucks. And I tell you, there's a lot of guys trying to go to the front all at once. There's another hit with the wall.
Wow, that time Crawford slapped it hard. Let's take a look at the first one.
He's racing real hard right of your screen. Todd got in the left rear quarter panel a little bit, got Rick a little bit sideways. He slapped the wall with the right rear corner, then turned right around. As he's coming off turn number 2, you see him really, really wide and make some more contact with the outside.
It actually looked like he got a little tight coming off that corner. At the last minute, tried to jerk that thing down, and it snapped loose on him.
He's got Jack Sprague right now on the inside. Remember, Jack was the fastest truck in both our practice sessions. Got extremely loose qualifying, but a fast truck with Jack Sprague here this weekend.
Well, meanwhile, Hornaday's just stretched it on out. He's got Setzer about 3 truck lengths back, but you got Todd Bodine, Crawford, all making moves. Jack Sprague's truck looks good. He was a favorite in practice. He had really good practices, and we'll see how close they got it for the setup today with the sun out.
There's that battle for fifth right
they're not going to give up either. They're side by side. Rick Crawford really doesn't seem like he's in the preferred line right now, but he's stuck out there. Nobody's giving him a break.
You know, back in the day, you used to have to run right against that rumble strip down there in 1 and 2, and the group has seemed to move up a little bit, or at least you're able to run a little bit higher, as you see Rick Crawford able to withdraw.
Spin on the backstretch. It's 0-9 of Bobby East in that Zaxby's Ford F-150. He gets turned around, and our first caution of the day comes out.
See the damage he's got. He looks like he might have gotten loose coming off of 2, Doug, and maybe made some contact with the outside wall. Not a tremendous amount of damage, but as important as aerodynamics are here, that's going to be really critical.
I was just going to say, though, looks like similar to what we saw with the 14, but he's definitely got a lot of damage. We got the right rear quarter panel is going to be the big part of this truck here. You see him.
That's Rick Crawford right there leading that group up. Watch, see Bobby's going to come along. See him just get a little bit loose, and then actually did not make any contact with the outside wall, but slid into the inside wall. Hit it with both right rear and the right front.
Yeah, so that's really going to hurt his handling there. You can see how that quarter panel is all caved in. These guys work extra hard to keep that corner panel right there as flat as it can, right here behind the tire. Now, if they want this truck to handle, they're going to have to get that quarter panel back out there where they get some reasonable shape to it, to where he'll be able to hang on.
Adam Alexander.
And the word from Chad Norris, come down, change right side tires, pull out the fender, let me check out the left side. The big key, don't lose a lap. So the spotter's been keeping them apprised of where the field is, and as you can see, the work continues, being concentrated right now on the right front. Bobby East pulls away, right side tire change complete, and he will be back on the pit lane.
So Bobby East involved in this accident. The only truck that brought out the caution to this point. Contact with the inside wall. We're under our first caution. Well, race fans, if you spent countless laps sitting on your couch hoping your driver will make the chase, now you can experience a chase of your own and take a shot at winning $5,000, plus an additional $1,000 for the last man standing. Log on to speedtv.com now, keyword Fantasy Cup. Get under our first caution of the day. It was Bobby East that brought out that yellow flag as he came out of turn number 2, got turned around, and then slapped the inside wall.
Yeah, the good news is Bobby was able to stay on the lead lap, but the bad news is he certainly has some damage to that Zaxby's board. As you can see, Bobby coming back to the racetrack now off of turn 2.
Yeah, he's been in multiple times here since the spin, and they've been trying to do some work on it, but you know, I think if I was down there, I would, you know, as critical as side force is, I'd make me a panel in this case right here to be able to put on the back of that with some structure to it and some strength, just to get some of that side force back. It speeds up at a place like this.
Yeah, how big is side force, obviously, on a 1.25 mile racetrack that is so dominated by straightaways?
Well, it's a lot of straightaway, but you know, with the restrictor plates that you run now, the corner speeds are up. They're trying to just sweep these centers, you know, so fast because they don't have all the power. So the speed gain is through the middle of the corner, and that's where you get your grip.
And one of the things that a lot of these drivers complain about is being too loose into the corner, and that side force would certainly help you in that situation as well.
Ted Musgrave warming those tires up. His number 59 Toyota carrying one of our cameras. Dennis Setzer started on the pole today, and he has dropped back to second. Ron Hornaday with a very strong start, as always. Got him coming off of turn number 2 and has led every lap of this race as we have completed 8 on lap number 9, and the green flag back in the air.
See Jack Sprague jump to the bottom, trying to duck underneath the 14 truck of Rick Crawford.
I'm guessing Rick Crawford's getting a little tired of that. That's the way he's ran pretty much the whole race.
Some more 3 wide action there. Looks like maybe Mark Mitchell. There's a battle for the lead. Dennis Setzer on the inside.
Dennis Setzer looked to the inside. Ron Hornaday had that momentum, was able to keep it up as he got into the center of the corner. Then that sweeping corner brings him out of turn number 4. And they race back to the start-finish line.
Setzer thought about it, but then the smart thing to do was to back off, because he was going to drive right in there and just hit right into the side of his door and probably cause them both to spin.
And you see Dennis Setzer make so few mistakes, Doug. That's why he's a veteran. That's why he's had so much success in this series. He just doesn't make many mistakes. But right now, he's got to contend with Todd Bodine on the outside.
Todd Bodine trying to take second away, and does. So Todd Bodine takes away the second spot, and now he tries to reel in that 33 of Ron Hornaday.
That 30 truck is looking really good. He's driving on the outside. He made a good arc into the corner, and it really stuck to him.
And it looked like he really turned through the center of the corner, too.
Todd Bodine, one win this season at Daytona. And now looking to get back into victory lane here at Gateway. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, it's all about turn 1 and 2 for Todd Bodine and his Lumber Liquidators Toyota. He said it is perfect down at that end of the track. Really rolling through the center nice. He said it's hitting the bumps a little bit in turn 3, and he's not quite sure what to do about that. They're talking about going up on air pressure on the right front tire just a little bit, but really good in 1 and 2, and that's where he executed the pass on the 18.
Take a look at this. Todd Bodine, Dennis Setzer, that's second and third. Ron Hornaday out there in front. He's led every lap, and now Setzer looks as though he can handle the bottom of the racetrack better than anybody on the track right now.
Yeah, it looked like he took a run at Todd there on the inside. Todd was able to keep his momentum up on the outside. Meanwhile, it looks like both of those guys kind of chased down Hornaday a little bit. They both moved a little bit closer to Hornaday.
They are gaining on him just a little bit. So Setzer is really strong through the center of the corner, but those 3 trucks now are pretty much on the same pace. But we'll see how the tires hold up, get a few laps under our belt, and see which way their setups go.
Take a look at 9th and 10th. Johnny Benson and Brian Scott. Those two are working their way through 1 and 2 now. Adam.
And Johnny Benson, the guy on the move. Brian Scott has dropped back after starting in the top 5. Let's talk about the point leader, Benson, who won this race a year ago. Not a great qualifying effort. 14th is where he started, but has worked his way into the top 10, saying the truck is a touch loose. And we should tell you, this particular vehicle, undefeated in 2008, wins at Milwaukee and ORP, and hoping for similar success here today, trying to run down his teammate, Michael Annette, right in front of him.
Doug, did you see that shot of that splitter on the 23 truck of Johnny Benson? You know, that splitter is a lot higher than a lot of these trucks we see. It looks to me like he is not taking advantage of the coil bind setup, as you can see that the amount of gap between the racetrack and that splitter.
You can see that right there. He's a lot higher than some of the other guys that are pinned like the 33 and the 2, but that's a combination of springs and shocks. But the other thing you'll notice is you get these trucks in behind another one, you lose the downforce on the nose, and it'll automatically rise up. It's a big difference. You wouldn't think so, but you can watch it happen.
We saw a pretty good example of that 9th and 10th. Johnny Benson with Brian Scott just behind him. Brian Scott's truck way up off of the racetrack.
Here comes that 2 truck of Sprague. He was able to get by the 14 of Rick Crawford, chase down the Conway Ford of Colin Brown. That's a battle for the 4th spot there. Here comes Mike Skinner. He's pulling in behind the 14 of Rick Crawford.
As Jack Sprague is trying to take a look on the outside.
All in line as they cross the start-finish line. And then moving out of line is that 2 of Jack Sprague. As you just mentioned, Doug, he makes the pass on Colin Brown.
I think Colin saw that he was there. A spotter let him know that he was there. Bobby Hudson, the veteran spotter. So there's no sense racing him down in the corner this early in the race. We're only on lap number 17. So good heads-up move by Colin Brown.
Each one of those drivers, they just want to get to the front so they can get that clean air to make that truck turn just a little bit better. So they're going to really charge hard to get in front of the guy.
Great to have an experienced spotter when you're working with, say, a 19-year-old like Colin Brown. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, it's almost like Phil was listening into the radio. That's exactly what Bobby Hudson told him. And he said, realize that Jack Sprague is really good on his entry. If you let him by, we might be able to learn something there. He said, watch that 2 truck. The way he arcs it in, he's a little bit better than you. He may be driving in just a little bit deeper, too. So he said, keep an eye on that, too. Might be able to learn something.
Yeah, very, very good point as we watch Colin Brown's teammate, Eric Darnell. He's in the middle of a battle with Matt Craft on the 88 and Mark Mitchell, the 15. It's a battle right now for the 17th position, 16th, 17th, and 18th.
It's still been Ron Hornaday that has been able to check out now on Todd Bodine. He's got about a half a second lead over he and Dennis Setzer. Jack Sprague and Colin Brown rounding out our top 5. Welcome back. The Camping World 200 presented on speed by Dodge. Slowed for the 2nd time of the day. A caution flag back out. This time it was the 15 of Mark Mitchell, who looked as though he cut a left rear tire, got turned around in turns 3 and 4, and so the caution flag came out once again. Here comes the field.
Yeah, I thought it might be a little bit early. We've only completed 21 laps, and Adam, they're all headed towards you, buddy.
And the man who started in the top 5 and currently riding in the 6th position actually started 7th. We're talking about Rick Crawford, and his crew chief, Kevin Cowboy Starlin, told me earlier today, track position is everything. The call for them on their first stop at lap 22, right side tires and fuel. The 14 pulling away, trying to grab some track position, Ray.
So we'll have 3 different strategies here. It's 2 tires for Crawford. It'll be 4 tires for number 30, Todd Bodine, and Ron Hornaday is going to get fuel only. And he is not going to be the first off pit road. Jack Sprague goes out ahead of the number 33.
The 33 truck was jacked up on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I think Rick
ran.
Yeah, right. He's probably wondering what just happened. What did we just do there, guys? We thought we were coming in. And doing a different strategy.
See if we can take a look at Ron Hornaday's Camping World Chevrolet when he comes down pit. You watch it. He's going to jack it up on the right side. You think maybe they're adjusting the rear shock or maybe unhooking a rear sway bar or something like that?
That's
Doug?
exactly what it looks like. That's the area where the rear bar is hooked at. A lot of times we use a quick pull pin where you can get under there and do just what they've done. Obviously, it was probably a little too loose.
So Rick Wren knew what they were doing. Obviously, they made a slight adjustment to the rear end of that truck, filled it full of fuel, and sent him back on the track. From biohazard recoveries to truck rollovers, for O'Hare Towing, danger lurks with every car. But this Thursday, when there's a big call that only Joey can handle, can he get there in time? It's an all-new wrecked Life in the Crash Lane. Thursday night, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific only, right here on Speed. Mark Mitchell back on pit road. Again, Mark Mitchell had a problem with the left rear tire, got turned around in turns 3 and 4. We take another look at how this caution came about.
Yeah, we saw Mark backing up a little bit, and there he is on the outside right there. I think maybe he had a left rear tire going down, Doug, and around Winnie did a nice job keeping that truck out of the outside wall.
And that's what it looked like, and it was a nice, slow, gradual spin, but now we see him here in the garage, so obviously he's got more damage than what we can see here.
Yeah, they're going to jack up the left side there. He had that left rear tire go down. I wonder if maybe some of that rubber got wrapped around the brake line, maybe pulled the brake line off or something like that.
It could happen. But the big mover of the race right now, my spotlight guy, Bradley Rothmeyer. Look at him running in 2nd place. Not only because he stayed out, but it's a good visual for that team as they head into approval land with NASCAR, and as they move forward and as we come to get the green there, looking good. 2nd place.
Yeah, Doug, the 5 of Mike Skinner stayed out. Now, why would you stay out in a situation like this?
The reason you'd stay out right now is he wanted track position. He'll test his truck. He'll see what the good clean air on the nose will do. But let's see how it plays out. If he gets a caution and the green flag's in the air.
Mike Skinner with a good restart. Bradley Rothmeyer not as quick onto the accelerator, so Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday will get by him.
See these 2 teammates right here. Again, Jack Sprague's truck so good yesterday in both our practice sessions, although the 33 of Ron Hornaday was awfully good as well. And you see Ron Hornaday on the inside trying to take over that 2nd spot from his teammate.
Ron Hornaday has been very strong at the start of this race, led all the laps until this most recent caution. Ray Dunlap, how's KHI doing today, or at least feeling with these trucks up front?
Both trucks are excellent right now, but Rick Wren really was in a problem, in a quandary. We had run 20 laps, and he was afraid if we get a long green run here, they might get in trouble on fuel. So they came down to put fuel in, and we saw that right side go up on the 33 Camping World Chevrolet. That's because they pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear. Now for Sprague in the number 2 truck, they got fuel only, and that's how he was able to get off pit road ahead of the 33. But Hornaday and Sprague both very, very satisfied with their trucks.
You're getting some 2 wide racing around Gateway International Raceway. Rick Crawford on the inside of that 54. Bradley Rothmeyer dropping back now as Ted Musgrave carries that Toyota on board past Rothmeyer as well. 3 wide down the front stretch.
It's like David Starr on the inside of Ted Musgrave. That is the Red Horse Toyota, number 11 of David Starr. There's Chad McCumbee, that red truck on the inside. Here comes Mark Davis, the 81 truck, now getting in front of Bradley Rothmeyer. And there's Matt Crafton, that very bright, I guess yellow you would call it, number 88.
Looks like my highlighter.
I tell you, that long back straightaway just opens the door for these guys just to get 3 wide racing. Got a good battle here with Johnny Benson and Dennis Setzer here. They're 2 wide getting in.
Yeah, Dennis was able to take over that 5th spot from Johnny Benson, and we haven't seen Johnny Benson passed very many times this season, have we, Adam?
You're indeed right on that. The 23 currently riding in the 6th position, dropped back, which is surprising, and perhaps one of the reasons why they too playing that pit strategy game. No tires on their first stop at lap 22. It gained them 4 positions on the stop, but have slipped back since the restart, as you guys pointed out. We'll continue to watch JB as this run continues.
You know, we were watching initially. Rick Crawford came in, and we looked at him first. He changed right side tires, looking for track position, but in all honesty, I mean, it actually backed him up. I mean, he restarted back past the top 10, so he actually fell back track position by doing that move.
Yeah, this Tabo Dime we're watching right now in the middle of our screen, he's the one that got 4 tires. So one of the trucks got 4 tires, and he was really making some great progress. Now he's got behind TJ Bell, not quite able to get that pass made, and there's Colin Brown and Eric Darnell, teammates right behind him.
Even though he got those 4 tires like that, he has a chance of using those tires up too good before he gets to the front of the pack, and it might just not do him any good at all with the guys that stayed out on the old tires.
Ray, why did they take 4?
Well, they feel like it gives them an option, guys. As you guys were saying, a 2-stop race. If we get a long green flag run right here, they come in, then they've got the option to possibly take 2 to get their track position. But everybody else down here who didn't change tires, you know they're not going to go with rights only. There'll be a 4-tire stop. So we'll see how it plays out. If we get a long green flag run, it could play into Bodine's favor.
Just a couple laps ago, we saw Todd trying to get by that 7 of TJ Bell. See Eric Darnell, and then a little bit of contact right there. And you see that splitter that's on the very front of that truck was in very close contact with that with a left rear tire, that 7 truck TJ Bell. That may have been what happened to Mark Mitchell. He may have got some contact from somebody. We saw him in a pretty good battle with some other trucks. This is a battle for 11th and 12th right now. The 14 of Rick Crawford trying to take over that spot from Colin Brown, as Ron Hornaday now has caught our leader, Mike Skinner.
Mike Skinner has a mirror full of Ron Hornaday right now. Those 2 teammates are all over the back bumper of Skinner. 2nd and 3rd, Ron Hornaday. Now Hornaday looks to the outside of that Toyota Tundra.
Now that is a battle right there that started all the way back in 1995 when the series started. It was Jack Sprague, Mike Skinner, Ron Hornaday, always battling week after week, and here they are doing it again.
Well, Doug, you know what? You crew chief for Ron Hornaday. You got 7 wins as his crew chief in this series with Hornaday. I mean, is this guy one of the most aggressive or impressive drivers that you've worked with?
He really was. I mean, not only a hard-charging, real aggressive driver, a great guy, great family, a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time together there and really enjoyed those wins.
And now, as Ron Hornaday was all over the back bumper of Mike Skinner, Skinner looks as though he's had his batteries recharged. He's out in front of Ron Hornaday by a couple moves.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday is not real happy right now with his teammate Jack Sprague. He was giving him a signal. Jack Sprague was all over the back of Ron coming off turn number 4. It looked like Ron Hornaday almost made contact with the outside. Well, let's take a look. See how close Jack Sprague is, and watch Ron Hornaday. He's going to get just a little bit loose up off the corner while Jack Sprague is tucked up underneath him, and that's what he's upset about right now.
Yeah, when you get tucked up behind that truck like that, it takes the air off the rear blade. And they were right at the point of the racetrack where they needed all the grip, and then going out towards that wall, he got a little loose. Jack Sprague had a run on him, and they might have touched there just a little bit.
See the 15 of Mark Mitchell back on the racetrack. You see our leaders right here going by him. He is several laps down right now, being shown 9 laps down due to the repairs they made.
Hey, you've got the 5 truck there, no tires, just fuel. He's maintaining his position. He's got that clean air right now, and he seems to be doing pretty well. They're not a big threat to him right now.
See, Ron Hornaday also no tires, but he did take a spring rubber out of the right rear to try to work on the handling of that Camping World Chevrolet.
And he was probably just a little bit too free, the reason they were removing that. That's hats off to Rick Renn and the crew. They did that and did lose a lot of positions on pit road. That was a really good change by those guys.
So Mike Skinner has been able to hold off Ron Hornaday, at least that charge that he put on a couple laps back. Hornaday has, well, been able to hold off his teammate. Jack Sprague has been all over his back bumper. So the top 3 are very tight. Skinner, Hornaday, and Sprague. Veterans of the series here at Gateway International Raceway. It has been side by side, door to door, and, well, a little bit of bumping and banging on this racetrack. We'll be back for more. Welcome back. The Camping World 200 presented on Speed by Dodge has a new leader, or well, an old leader as well, because Ron Hornaday led the first 20 or so laps of this race. Then a caution came out. He relinquished the top spot to the 5 of Mike Skinner. And now Hornaday has taken that top spot away again.
Yeah, and how about Jack Sprague getting sideways going up too? This is how Ron Hornaday was able to get the lead. You see him follow the 5 down in the corner. You see Jack Sprague look to the inside, but watch this run that Ron Hornaday gets off this corner here. Watch the momentum he gets coming down the back straightaway.
And man, it just carried all the way down into turn 3 there.
He dives down to the bottom of Mike Skinner. Mike gives him room down on the bottom. They race down the front straightaway. And then Ron is able to beat Skinner down into turn number 1. They get very, very close off of turn 4 right here. Actually, maybe touched just a little bit. Remember, these guys fought tooth and nail last season for that championship right down to the very end of the race at Homestead.
And so Ron Hornaday back in front. Mike Skinner led 18 laps in this race. An amazing statistic. That's all he's led this entire year coming into this race, 18 laps. So 36 laps led for Mike Skinner in 2008. Ray Dunlap.
Hey guys, keep in mind this is a brand new truck that Hornaday has with him here at Gateway. Is chassis number 27, brand new, never been on the racetrack. These guys have 3 wins this season in different trucks. He had a couple of wins in old number 24, that's his favorite, and at Memphis they won in chassis 18. But feeling really good about what they've done with this intermediate type truck. That's really where their strong point has been, on the 1.5 miles and the tracks like here at Gateway. So they're really liking this chassis. Hornaday saying it handles great through the center of the corner.
And as Hornaday almost checks out on his teammate Jack Sprague, we see Mike Skinner dropping back a spot to 3rd. So those two battled side by side, but not as long to relinquish the 2nd spot now. Adam Alexander, what's going on with tires?
Well, and we're going to talk in particular about Michael Annett. He was running in the top 10 before our last commercial break, and an unscheduled pit stop 5 laps ago has him outside the top 25. He thought it was a right front tire going down. Doug Walcott, the crew chief, and the crew looked him over, said, nope, the tires are fine. He radioed back and said, something may be broke. I just don't feel right. And so they're going to try to ride it out until they get a caution, but a tough break for Michael Annett. And this is the 2nd race in a row he's had issues. Remember the early spin while running in the top 5 at Nashville, and now here today, tough break while running in the top 10 at Gateway.
Right now, Michael Annett needs to hope for a caution plate. He is the first truck right now, 1 lap down, and will be just maybe for a few more moments. See the 09 right there, Bobby East. He will be the next truck to go a lap down, so that will take Michael Annett out of the position to get that Aaron's Lucky Dog. Jack Sprague just ran his fastest lap of the race that last lap just now. So Jack Sprague right now has a great, great truck. He was a full half second faster than Ron Hornaday, but remember Hornaday was battling that lap truck of Bobby East.
46 laps into the race, and it's Jack Sprague running his fastest lap. So that bodes well for that team. Ron Hornaday continuing to lead, teammate to Jack Sprague. Hornaday very strong in qualifying, and it looks as though it's going to transfer over into the race today. We'll be right back with more on Speed. Welcome back. NASCAR racing continuing this weekend. Tomorrow, NASCAR race day kicks it all off at 11 a.m. right here on Speed. Sprint Cup Series, a nationwide series on ESPN and ESPN2. A doubleheader tomorrow in Richmond.
The seldom used Sprint Cup nationwide doubleheader in Richmond on Sunday.
Well, side-by-side racing. Colin Brown on the inside of David Starr.
It's a battle for the 10th position. Colin was able to get by the 14 of Rick Crawford just a moment ago. Now he's going to try the bottom, see if he can do something with David Starr off of turn number 2.
Different pit strategies by the different teams. Crawford did a 2-tire stop. We saw some fuel only. Saw Ron Hornaday come in, and they took a rubber out of the right rear. And so obviously we're all trying different things right now to see how they can get that truck to handle the best.
And Todd Bodine changed 4 tires, and he's made his way up to the 4th position now. So it looks like maybe 4 tires worked for Todd Bodine.
Yeah, it didn't work bad at all.
Another guy who's made a little bit of a move, Dennis Setzer, a couple spots for him.
Yeah, he may have one of the only trucks that can run with these 2 Chevrolets out of Kevin Harvick's stable. Dennis Setzer very, very good on the pole. You know what really surprised me? That was only his 4th career pole for Dennis Setzer.
In as many years as he's been running in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, only 4 poles. for Dennis Setzer.
You can see right here that Jack Sprague probably wants to go past Hornaday and try to take the lead, but there's probably a team aspect saying, no, we got to get Hornaday out there and be leading all the laps and, thinking of the big picture of the championship. So it'd be interesting to listen to that radio conversation.
Well, Ray, you've been listening, and what are they saying on the 33 radio?
Well, they're reminding Jack Sprague that Ron Hornaday really needs to lead 81 laps, and I think he's well aware of that. In the big picture here, Sprague out of the run for the championship, kind of building for next year, looking at different things they can do to make this team a lot stronger to run for the championship next season. But I think soon as you see them give him the green flag that Hornaday's led 81, he may put a little more pressure on that 33.
Yeah, and Jack Sprague is so desperate to get a win. He's won so many races in this series, the second most winner next to Ron Hornaday. And when we're talking about 81 laps, that means if you lead 81 laps, then you clinch the 5-point bonus for leading the most laps. So that's what they're talking about down there right now. And here, as we watch Dennis Setzer, who's moved up into the third spot, you see Todd Bodine, the Lumber Liquidators Toyota, right behind Dennis. His Dodge Onboard, a truck really on the move right now.
First guy with 4 tires right there. We'll keep an eye on his times there just to see if those 4 tires are paying off for him right now at this point of the run.
A little bit longer of a run here as we had the caution come out on lap 21. We've completed 56 laps now, so a little longer green flag run. Maybe they're getting a little better feel for these longer runs with their trucks.
Remember, Todd Bodine started back in the 11th, restarted back in the 11th spot, made his way up to the top 4 right now. There's Mike Skinner. Remember, Mike Skinner, the only truck other than Bradley Riefmeyer that did not come down pit road. Doug, we're 57 laps into this race here, and we looked at the pit window somewhere between 60 and 65. We've had a handful of caution laps, so that's going to help our fuel mileage, but boy, I'd be shocked if he could go past 70, so he may be on the verge of a green flag pit stop.
Yeah, this is exactly what you didn't want to happen when you make the choice to stay out there and everybody else comes in. You're sitting out there with a 22-lap deficit to everybody else, and that is huge if you do have to come and pit under green. So they're not too far away from that window now. We're at lap 57, and you're right. They don't have much room. They're down there just hoping for a caution right now, hoping they can get in here and get into the pits like everybody else.
Phil, as a driver, is this when you're saying there is debris everywhere on the racetrack?
All over the racetrack.
But NASCAR's onto that. They monitor that. They listen to the radio conversation. You know what? That's almost the oldest trick in the book.
It looked like a hurricane blew through here, and it left debris all over the racetrack.
I think that could be Hannah left over from Richmond.
Eric Darnell running in the 6th spot now.
One of the most incredible races I believe I've ever seen was that Michigan race that Eric Darnell won by 1 3/8 over Johnny Benson.
Unbelievable finish. Brian Scott running very strong. He had a great qualifying. He was in the top 4 in his qualifying effort in that Chevy Silverado.
He's done a nice job, too. He stayed up here in the top 10, running 7th right now. His best career finish in 9th at Daytona earlier this year.
How about this? The caution comes out, and it happened just when Mike Skinner needed it most.
Well, he was hollering that there was debris all over the racetrack, and obviously, NASCAR found some.
He found the debris. It was the debris from Hannah.
It's amazing that in the past, we have seen some drivers throw things, roll bar padding, things out of the windows. Now, NASCAR really frowns on that.
Boy, Phil, you do not want to get caught being seen throwing stuff out the window there. Yeah, that is very, very not good.
We heard from some drivers earlier today about being called to the principal's office. Have you ever been called to the big red or white, whatever truck color the truck may be that NASCAR has?
Unfortunately, Phil, yes, I have.
I have too. I just want to know if you have.
There's always those things that they just kind of frown upon when you do things, or you kind of approach a rule maybe in a little bit different way. So.
Yet, I guess I haven't been called yet.
Yeah.
But our producer's been called on my behalf, so I guess that kind of counts. Well, our caution comes out once again. It's the 3rd caution this time. Sure enough, it's Ford debris on lap 61, and so.
And we've run long enough now that I think we're going to see everybody come to pit road. So the disadvantage that Mike Skinner was looking at is negated by this caution flag. Everyone's coming to pit road.
That was a great break for him right here. He needed that, and that team did. But they'll all come down here. I guarantee they'll all come down here and get 4 tires, make some air pressure adjustments, maybe a little wedge or track bar even.
Field making their way on to pit road now. Let's head back to pit road and Adam Alexander.
Brian Scott with a career best qualifying effort earlier today, starting third, currently riding seventh. He said, it is tight. I'm getting killed in turn 2. So Dave McCarty, the crew chief, said 4 tires, fuel, air pressure, and a track bar. That's what they will do. Second stop of the day for Brian Scott, coming at lap 61. No tires on their first stop. They're getting all 4 corners taken care of this time, Ray.
Sprague is on the middle of your screen. You'll see a 4-tire stop go right here. No chassis adjustments for him. And you see at the top of your screen, Ron Hornaday. They are going to put a pound of air in the left rear and take 1 pound out of the right rear, trying to help him get out of the corners. You see Sprague is down and away, rolling down the track. We'll see what kind of battle we have coming off of pit road. Looks like Hornaday goes out behind his teammate.
So the race off pit road in your lower left corner of your screen. See who made up spots, who lost spots. Wow, a close call there coming out of their pit. Looked like TJ Bell in that 7.
And the 6 of Colin Brown looked like they may have made a little contact.
Yeah. Looked as though David Starr made up 6 spots on pit road. The Aaron's Lucky Dog goes to the 0-8 of Jason White. He gets his lap back. He'll be on the lead lap when we come back for the restart. Welcome back to Camping World 200, presented on speed by Dodge under the 3rd caution of the day. This one coming out on lap 61 for debris, and Mike Skinner really liked that. Guys that didn't like the race off of pit road and got a little bit involved was the 23 of Johnny Benson. We see some damage to the left side of that truck.
See, right behind that left front tire, we caught that a glimpse of that action coming off pit road here. You see pretty good damage to that 23 truck. Watch top of your screen. You're going to see there's Colin Brown pulling out. He's in the middle. Then TJ Bell pulls out. Colin swerves to the right to avoid TJ and makes some contact with Johnny. Pretty significant contact with that 23 truck.
Colin Brown also has some damage there. A lot to the right front splitter area, right in front of the right front tire, and that's going to affect his downforce.
Yeah, there's a little bit of damage on that left front corner where he and TJ Bell made contact. But right here, look below that bumper. A lot of damage to that right front fender.
Yep.
Green flag back in the air. This time it's Jack Sprague leading his teammate to the green flag. Ron Hornaday dropped back to 2nd coming off of pit road, but a great restart. Let's see if he can get back by his teammate as they come out of turn 2.
You know, Ron Hornaday would like to get that lead back, teammate or not. He wants to lead at least half this race. There goes Ron to the inside, making the pass down the backstretch.
Another huge run for Ron Hornaday down the backstretch, and he's able to take the position away from Jack Sprague. Todd Bodine has stayed in the top 3. Now he's in the 3rd spot, and he tries to crawl up there a little bit closer to that 2 now of Jack Sprague and see if he can get in the top 2.
Eric Darnell right now runs in the 4th spot, right on the bumper of the 30 of Todd Bodine.
Those front 4 trucks, they're just glued together. They're right there bumper to bumper, but we'll give them a few laps, get the air pressure to come up in the tires, get a little heat in them, and then we'll see who's got the better truck here as we get going.
The last time Todd Bodine came down and got 4 fresh tires. You said what a great move that was. He was able to work his way up into the top 5. Ray, anything more on the tire issue with Todd Bodine?
Well, just wanted to let you guys know on lap 22 when he pitted, they put on scuff tires. So that means the number 30 team has a set of stickers left here in the pits. We know that everybody's going to come in one more time. So a little bit of strategy for Mike Hillman Jr. using scuffs early in the race, keeping his stickers for that final run.
Yeah, more than likely, Doug, those scuff tires were probably from a mock qualifying run in practice. And, you know, the only limit, they have 5 sets of tires for all these teams when they get here for the entire weekend. More than likely, they would use up 1 set of tires in the 2 practice sessions we had, and they would make a mock qualifying run on another set of tires. And more than likely, that's what they put on that lap 22 pit stop.
Right, and we'd always take, and we think of a scuffed tire as a tire that's got an extra cycle on it, and we always feel like it makes that tire just a little bit harder. So that's why they chose to put those tires on early. Save the stickers without any cycles, and you'll have a lot of grip on those tires for later in the race when they need it.
Great move by Colin Brown to pass Johnny Benson and David Starr. That will move Colin up to the 6th spot right now.
Maybe that damage is not too bad then. We saw it there, but a good handling truck. Use that throttle. They'll get on down that straightaway.
But it may have affected the 23 of Johnny Benson because Johnny is one of the guys that he passed just now. It didn't look like it that it was going to affect Johnny because it looked like it was behind that left front tire. But you never know. Aerodynamics are so important to these trucks here.
Yes, they are.
Just a bit back is the 8 of Chad McCumbee. Adam, what's going on with that team?
Well, isn't it fun to see a team make progress? Chad McCumbie's been so good on the intermediate tracks. We talked in our setup show today about how he nearly got his first career win last year at Texas. As you see him working to the inside of TJ Bell, that is 4th position. McCumbie now up to 9th in the running order. But this is a team that had really struggled on short tracks and tracks like this, the flat, long straightaway racetracks like New Hampshire and here at Gateway. But they've worked hard. 11th is where they finished at Bristol. A big improvement on their short track program. And very good today. They took 2 tires on that last stop at lap 61. He's gone from 20th to 9th in the first half of this race.
A nice run for Chad McCumbie, but the 7 of TJ Bell, the truck that Chad was just able to get by, bounced off the wall coming off 2 just about a lap and a half ago. Let's see if we can take a look back. You see Chad right behind that 7 of TJ Bell exiting turn number 2. TJ just runs into the outside wall. He was very, very close to the 11 of David Starr. And sometimes if you're not looking through that back glass, through the windshield of that truck, it's hard to see exactly where you are relative to that outside wall. And with the saber barriers taking about 30 inches of space away, maybe even a little bit more, you don't have as much room as you used to.
That's right. Up in the top 5, the 99 of Eric Darnell, trying to get by that 30 of Todd Bodine. So now that Ford F-150 strong on the racetrack as he chases the 30 of Todd Bodine. Ray Dunlap.
You know, earlier I had said that Todd was really good in 1 and 2, where Eric Darnell's just the opposite. He's very good in 3 and 4, but he's a tick tight on his exit of turn number 2. So Matt Pusha, his crew chief's going to work on that. They're actually doing a little tire pressure adjustment over here for that next pit stop, but a little bit tight coming off 2 for Darnell.
You know what, Ray, when you're a little bit tight off of turn 2, that's why Eric Darnell is so good down in 3 and 4. When you're just right down and coming off turn 2, then you're going to be a little bit free down in 3 and 4. So this really, truly is a racetrack of compromise.
That's right. That's the difference of this racetrack, the 2 different characteristics of each end. It's the give and take, and he had to give a little on the wall to take a little on the other end.
Again, the radius in 1 and 2, a little tighter than the radius in turns 3 and 4 here at Gateway International Raceway. So far, it's been Ron Hornaday dominating at Gateway. He's got his teammate chasing him, Jack Sprague.
Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source, by Just for Men, stay in the game with Just for Men hair color, and by Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership. Nobody beats Aaron's, nobody.
Ron Hornaday looking to find victory lane for the first time in his career here at Gateway International Raceway. He's had 2 second-place finishes, the most recent last year at this racetrack.
And as Ray told us, 2 nationwide second-place finishes, too. So he's been the bridesmaid 4 times here at Gateway.
Able to hug that white line as he comes out of turn number 2 and he rockets down the backstretch. This is where he always puts some distance between he and whoever else is chasing him down that backstretch. Terry Cook and the 81 chasing behind him.
Mark Davis right there in front of Ted Musgrave. Mark's having a nice run for his first ever Craftsman Truck Series start. He was my spotlight driver and doing a nice job here in Randy Moss Motorsports Chevrolet.
He's got a mirror full of that 59 of Ted Musgrave. Musgrave so strong at this racetrack. Has won here twice back in 2001 and 2005. Both of those wins, though, came back when he started on the pole. So Ted Musgrave starting further back today in 19th. It's a little more difficult for him to get by some of these trucks.
I was talking to Mark right before the race and how excited he is to be here in this series, driving this truck right here and really doing a nice job. I mean, he's racing right now between 3 victories here at this racetrack. Terry Cook won here, and Ted Musgrave right behind Mark Davis has won here twice. So he's getting some great experience and doing a real nice job, staying out of trouble. You see Howard University on board the radio station WHUR is their call sign or whatever the frequency, and doing a nice job.
Wedged in between Terry Cook and Ted Musgrave. That's a great learning experience that he's getting right now as well. Just following in the tire marks of Terry Cook, trying to learn as much as he can in his NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series debut. Yellow stripe on the back bumper of that truck. That doesn't look good, Doug.
Oh, it doesn't. You can see we talked about earlier, they probably tried to put a piece there on that right rear trying to help the side force of that truck. And I think they've got a little bit too much flapping in the breeze right there. Yeah, NASCAR is going to tell him to bring that in right there. It wouldn't be surprised me if he doesn't get the black flag, because the worst thing you can have is if there is a piece of metal under there, we don't want that flying up into the grandstands or cause anybody some bodily damage in another fashion here.
Potentially debris coming on the racetrack if that does fly off of that truck, and so that's why NASCAR is asking him to come back down on pit road and make sure to fix that issue. Dennis Setzer driving that number 18 Dodge. Very well, started on the pole today and has fought his way back into the top 10, Ray.
Well, Rick, on that last round of pit stops, they actually had a problem. The truck fell down off of the jack, and he had come in running 5th, but went back out 11th or 12th. So moving back up through the field a little bit here, gaining some spots slowly, but a costly pit stop for the 18 bunch. Anytime you lose that many spots in the pit road, could take you a long time to make it up on the racetrack.
Right now, 4 of our top 10 have run their fastest lap of the race within the last 10 laps. Actually, Ron Hornaday, our leader, and Jack Sprague both ran their fastest lap of the race on lap number 76, which was about 7 laps ago.
Adam Alexander, what's happening with JB?
Johnny Benson incredibly loose. You know, he started 14th earlier today, worked his way into the top 5, but has drifted back to 7th and said, those guys are beating me and pulling away, and there is nothing I can do about it. Anticipate a chassis adjustment for Tripp Bruce and these guys on their final stop of the afternoon.
You know, we talked earlier in the show about the rule change that NASCAR instituted, and essentially, as we see Shane Sieg trying to get by that 59 of Ted Musgrave, essentially right now it only affected the Toyotas. They had to run a little bit smaller tapered spacer. The holes in the tapered spacer are a little bit smaller. They say about 18 horsepower is what that hurt these Toyotas, but you know, every engine builder had to adjust to this tapered spacer this season. NASCAR instituted that. This is the tapered spacer we saw back at Daytona Talladega primarily last year, and now we've run it everywhere. So all these engine manufacturers and engine builders have had to adjust to the new rules, and you see right there, that's one of the Toyotas, the 51 of Shane Sieg. And you know, I really applaud all these engine builders and manufacturers for the job they've done adapting to these new rules and the new spacer that we've had this year.
Right. We want to reiterate, though, this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to maybe Toyota winning the past 4 races. They have been chassis dynoing and engine dynoing these engines since the very beginning of the season, and so it has been a culmination of things that they have taken into their decision-making process.
Yeah, they've actually had 4 separate engine dynos tests from the beginning of the season till now. And Wayne Auten, our series director, said they really saw a trend. Right. You know, early on, they were very, very close, and as they went forward, then they saw a little bit of a gap that Toyota was actually making their product a little bit better, where the other 3 manufacturers were staying pretty stagnant. I talked to Lee White, the president of TRD, and he said that they were very disappointed about this rule change, which right now only affects the Toyota. He said, but on the other hand, we really applaud NASCAR for having the initiative and being able to make that decision to try to make the competition better. He said, that's why we're here. So we have no problem with NASCAR. Certainly, we're glad to be here, but a little bit disappointed that what they felt like their hard work that they've done over the course of the year has really been penalized with this new rule. But, you know, there's a lot of talk about Chevrolet's new engine that they run in the Sprint Cup Series, the R07. That's been submitted for approval for the Nationwide Series and the Truck Series. And if that engine is approved, then it will also run the smaller tapered spacer like the Toyotas have now. So that's something that we may see more of down the road.
Ray Dunlap, got something on the subject?
Well, Rick, throughout the weekend, of course, we've gotten politicked a great deal by a number of drivers and a number of crew chiefs talking about this. And Johnny Benson told me that he felt like testing the engines after Bristol was where it really didn't show a fair thing. He said that it was a situation where most of the Toyotas had intermediate track engines at Bristol, and the Chevrolets and the Fords, they all had short track engines, and he thought it really was an apples to oranges comparison. But the big picture is, Johnny told me, and a number of crew chiefs said, it may not show up so much here this weekend, but he said when we go to the big tracks like at Texas and places like California or Michigan, boy, it'll be a really big difference and a big hindrance for the guys that are driving the Tundras.
Well, right now, no one has anything for Ron Hornaday at the halfway point. He was leading And now after we've completed 90 laps, he still is out in front of this field, looking to add those 5 bonus points for the most laps led to his point total.
You know, I've had my trusty old 3-horsepower Craftsman shop vac for probably 20 years, and you can tell I use it about every day here in the shop. Still does a great job of vacuuming. However, there's an awful lot of times when you're out in the field or somewhere that you don't have electric power that you need a vacuum too. And I know on Tools of the Trade I've talked a lot about these lithium-ion batteries, but I absolutely love that you push the button and it gives you the green light and you know you've got power to get the job done. Now this is a very affordable little unit, about $40, and I love it because it's dual function. Number one, it's a blower, or you just flip the switch like that and it becomes a vacuum. So whether you're working in the yard or in the shop, rely on the lithium technology to give you plenty of power to get all of the work done that you'd like.
And welcome back to Gateway International Raceway, the Camping World 200 presented on Speed by Dodge, Madison, Illinois.
Where do you think Ray got all that sawdust on the floor of the shop?
I think he trucked it in because it couldn't have been from working on wood in there. Actually, a very nice shop that Ray Dunlap has. We still see Ron Hornaday out in front. It's Jack Sprague, Todd Bodine, Eric Darnell, Colin Brown, Mike Skinner, Johnny Benson, Dennis Setzer, David Starr, and TJ Bell. They are your top 10. We want to look a little further through the field. We're going to take a look at 11 back, and we'll start with Adam Alexander.
And we talk about Chad McCumbee, currently riding in that 11th position after starting 20th earlier today. It was a 2-tire stop at lap 61 that got him into the top 10. They dropped back to 11th and really have not moved anywhere since that time. Chad hoping to make another adjustment on this truck and have a solid top 10 finish when the day is complete. Right behind Chad in the 12th position, Brian Scott. Now, he took no tires on the first stop of the day, was running solidly in the top 10 when they had issues on that pit stop back at lap 61. A 4-tire stop dropped him outside the top 10, and now he finds himself in the 12th position. He's calling for tight conditions on the radio. Currently riding 13th, Rick Crawford, who started in the 7th position today and was running solid throughout the afternoon until his truck went loose. He says he needs more grip. They too anticipate a chassis adjustment on their next stop. Then there's Matt Crafton. He came into the day 3rd in Truck Series points, 156 out of the lead. He didn't have a good qualifying run. Started in the 25th position, rallied up to 12th, but his truck not handling good. Tight has been the word on his radio. He finds himself 14th on the running order right now. And then Terry Cook, the winner here in 2002, led 59 laps on that day. Not a great afternoon for Terry Cook here. Currently scored in 15th, fighting the race truck. We'll see what they do on their final stop later on. Ray?
Adam, how about Mark Davis in that number 81, making his debut today for Randy Moss Motorsports? Not quite sure if he'll be happy with this finish, but the bottom line is Eric Phillips, the crew chief, is very happy with the feedback that Mark Davis has been able to give them throughout the course of the weekend as they begin to work on this truck. Big questions about what Mark Davis will be doing next year. Hopefully we'll find out a little bit more before we get to Homestead. Adam?
And he has had plenty of guys to lean on, Ray, in the garage area to help his progress. And this guy, Shane Sieg, has got a pretty good leader in his camp as well, sharing time in the 51 with Kyle Busch, who this weekend not racing the truck because of his commitments at Richmond. Sieg's been very quiet on the radio, started 11th, and currently finds himself scored in the 17th position. Right behind him, Ted Musgrave, 18th, about where he started. He qualified 19th earlier today. You would expect more from the guy who has won here twice, but track position is everything, and Ted Musgrave fighting no track position and no grip this afternoon. Ray?
71, Andy Lowley back in the ride. You know, Donnie Leah has been in this truck throughout much of the season, and there's a lot of question marks as to what will happen with the 71. They believe that TJ Bell, the teammate, who is currently up in 10th, will have some funding to run the entire 09 schedule, but there's a big question mark as to what will happen with the 71. And the yellow flag is out here. Debris over in turn 3.
So our fourth caution of the day has come out. Our guys did an excellent job getting us a little deeper through the field there. Thank you, Adam and Ray. And there is that, well, it looks like a rubber from a spring has come free, and that's actually on the access road at turn number 3. I don't would they call a caution for this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because the trucks would come in right there to make their way towards pit road. And that's one way to get a rubber out.
Somebody has a rubber come out that maybe didn't really want it out. So we'll see if there's any identification on that. We'll be able to tell that in the next run. But
yeah, more than likely now, this is probably going to be our last pit stop, or certainly last scheduled pit stop for all these guys. We've completed 103 laps. We know they can go at least 60, 65 laps. So, the battle off pit road here may have a bearing on what goes on at the end of this race.
This will be huge. You see some of the teams already getting up on the wall, getting ready to go over and do that final 4-tire stop for each team. Camping World team getting ready to go over the wall for the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Hornaday's been dominant. He will lead the most laps today, so he gets another 5 bonus points. That puts his bonus points total to 100 already this year. Johnny Benson, who's leading our points, only 70 bonus points for the entire season up to this point. So this is the 14th race that Ron Hornaday has led, and he will get 10 bonus points here at Gateway.
Doug, if you're Rick Wren right now, what are you going to tell your crew? You know this may be the most critical pit stop of the race.
It is. It could be the final pit stop of the day. But if I'm Rick Wren, I'm sitting on that box. Okay, guys, just focus. We need a nice, smooth stop and no mistakes. We can't come back in. We can't jeopardize all this track position. And we're going to have to, and Rick's going to have to pay attention to trucks coming by him so we don't get damage.
Adam Alexander.
We start with Johnny Benson running in the top 10 throughout the day, but needing something good to happen for the last run. So they are going to go 2 tires, right sides only for JB. He got 4 at lap 61. They hope the right sides only, the good call that will take them to the checkered flag this afternoon. Ray?
Well, it'll be 4 tires for both the KHI teams. Now, Rick Wren was telling his crew to be ready. They want Adam Krieger, who is the jackman, to be ready on the left side. When they get the 4th lug on there, he said, get that jack down. They're going to lose lots of spots here to guys that only took 2 tires. Hornaday comes in the leader. He's going to go out about 7th or 8th.
Wow, and a little contact there. The 2 of Jack Sprague looked like he hit the tires. They're on the inside, or the wall on the inside of the pit road, and so that moves out there. A little bit of debris on pit road. Let's take another look at what took place.
Yeah, I think Jack Sprague was maybe the guy that ran into those tires. We saw so many guys with 2 tires, and that really creates a traffic jam on pit road. Watch this now. You see Ron Hornaday pull out and squeezes his teammate Jack Sprague into those tires.
This is exactly what we were just talking about, what we didn't want to happen on this final pit stop. What if they get front valence damage? What if you get a tire rub? You come out of the pit like this, you're going to cut your tire down, or with Sprague's case, he's damaging the fenders on the tires. That's just too wild of an exit there at this point of the game.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday drove right out as we watch our lucky dog, our Aaron's lucky dog, Kevin Wood, will get the free pass with his Air Force Ford, get back on the lead lap, but could be some very tough situation for Ron Hornaday and the 2 of Jack Sprague.
Mike Skinner out in front of the field here at Gateway. The big hitters from the Cardinals. Well, we've got big hitters right here at Gateway International Raceway. The finish coming up after this. Welcome back. Camping World 200 presented on Speed by Dodge. Gateway International Raceway. We had mentioned Skinner was in front of the field. Well, no longer. He's on pit road, Ray.
And Rick, they had a tire violation, and he was too close to the pit wall, so whenever he went to leave, they couldn't get one of the wheels tight, so he decided they had to come back in here and do left side tires on that Toyota Tundra. He would have restarted here as the leader. Now Skinner will go back out, and boy, I don't know where we would be, you guys, way back.
Yeah, at least, well, he's going to start behind our lead lap trucks, I would think, and that would be 23rd, so very difficult situation. Is it insurmountable? I mean, can he come back from this?
It is totally insurmountable. Yeah. There's no way that he will overcome this poor track position he's going to have, and what would look to be a pretty good day for Mike Skinner is not going to turn out that good. Can he get back to the top 10? Yes, probably, but as far as contending for the win, no way.
And this is exactly what I was, talking about with Hornaday's group, and the same with Skinner now. You can't make mistakes, whether he's too close to the wall or whether a tire doesn't come back. I mean, we've got all these regulations that we have to follow as pit crewmen there, and it's worthwhile that if you got a violation like that coming, don't leave. Stop. Fix it. Don't come back in.
And so Mike Skinner potentially taken completely out of contention for this race. Now, the field in the hands of our points leader, Johnny Benson. brings the number 23 Toyota Tundra to the green flag.
Remember, a handful of these trucks up front, only 2 tires on their last pit stop.
One of those we were hearing is the 23 of Johnny Benson. Just the right side tires they put on there, and we see the left side damage on his truck. That was from a pit road incident earlier today. A little bumping and banging there.
Yeah, there's a 71 of Andy Lally right there. This is Ted Musgrave's Toyota on board. Dennis Setzer, him off pit road in 2nd spot after Mike Skinner's penalty. And you know, remember, he had a good truck, had trouble on his previous pit stop, was only able to get back to the 8th position. So they felt like they needed some clean air, so they got him out front with 2 tires.
Ron Hornaday goes to the inside. It was 3 wide as they were going into turn number 1. Now just 2 wide. That's Eric Darnell on his outside. He makes that a really wide turn as he goes down the backstretch.
Yeah, part of that was because he was chasing that truck up the hill, which is why he was so wide.
Ron drove in that corner so hard. He went in there and it started sliding up, and there was a point he had to turn the wheel, and that's right when he got loose. But you can see him really gripping well down on the bottom, and he's making ground.
Eric Darnell has a pretty good truck, as you see Ron Hornaday pull right in front of him, and then Eric Darnell switches back over to the inside to try to fight back on the inside.
Eric Darnell not wanting to relinquish that spot. Now he goes back to the inside. We'll see if Hornaday's got him cleared in 1. He does. Again, Hornaday staying that wider line. We've seen Hornaday just rocket down the backstretch after he has a good turn number 2.
Yeah, that Pro Motor horsepower right there is really doing a nice job. As you see Dennis Setzer going for the lead on the inside.
Dennis Setzer with a strong dodge makes the move on Johnny Benson.
Dennis Setzer said, I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with in this race right here. Ooh.
Oh, problems with the 19. He gets turned around and into the wall. That's Rob Brent bringing out our 5th caution of the day.
Yeah, considerable amount of damage to Rob Brent. He had a pretty nice run going. He was running up in the top 20 on the lead lap, and it's going to come to a premature end. A lot of damage to that truck. He's going to try to drive away, but it's going to be futile. Too much damage.
Safety crew is there to attend to Rob Brent. You'll see a little bit of fire there coming out from underneath the hood. So Rob Brent's going to climb out of that truck.
Good work by the safety crew to get right there.
And that NASCAR works really hard, and they have a lot of meetings making sure safety workers and everybody knows what to do in these situations like that. You can see, boom, they've got him out of the truck, the fire's out, and the driver's safe.
And they're going to bring the field onto pit road. Let's take another look here at what took place. He just looks like he got turned around.
Hard contact. Again, you're going awfully fast on these straightaways, you know, upwards of 150, 160 miles an hour on these straightaways. And as you enter the corner, that's when you're most vulnerable. And that's when Rob got turned around and really slowed down very little before he hit that outside wall.
That's the type of hit that you really don't want. And then when you slap the driver's side like that, you don't want to slap it that close to the wall there.
There's an access road in turns 3 and 4, and that's where they brought the field. Obviously, the safety crew is working on that 19 and making sure that Rob Brent is okay, and they will get the track cleaned up. The fans on their feet enjoying another great race from Gateway International Raceway. Our Aaron's Lucky Guest trivia question today. Chrissy Wallace will be the 5th famous Wallace family member to race at Gateway International Raceway. Who had the best finish between Rusty, Kenny, Mike, and Steve?
I know.
Doug, any ideas?
I'm not going to say because we're not going to give the answer till the next segment.
Okay. But what do you think? You know, Doug? Any ideas?
No idea for me.
It's not him. That's Brendan Gaughan.
Brendan Gaughan. Well, he's
No
lucky
guesses.
enough to get the Aaron's Lucky Dog, so Brendan Gaughan will not answer the question, but he will get a lap back. You see the damage to the left side of that number 19 of Rob Brent. They're taking that truck off the racetrack. They'll continue to clean that up while they do that. October 18th and 19th, there's general admission tickets available for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. You can also get a reserve ticket for the Sprint Cup race on Sunday. If you do both of those things, you're invited to a VIP dinner and a question and answer period with Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, Chris Kubota, Adam Alexander. Maybe we'll find Michael Waltrip.
How about
join
you?
us up there. I think I'm supposed to ask the question.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know, though. But all you have to do, call 1-877-72-3849. Let's try that again. 877-722-3849. And just ask for the special speed offer. And remember that phone number because it gave me a lot of trouble. Camping World 200 presented on Speed by Dodge. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. We've completed 116 of the 160 scheduled laps of this race. Let's look back on the race summary here. Bobby East having troubles on lap 5, gets turned around and into the inside wall.
Another view right there. Bobby East has stayed on the racetrack. He is currently running 28, 3 laps down.
Lap 20, problems for the 15 of Mark Mitchell. The left rear tire goes down. He spins, doesn't collect anyone else, and he's able to continue racing today.
He's lap number 110. This is why we're under caution right now. Rob Brent gets turned around in the 19 truck owned by Brad Keselowski. Makes hard contact with a safer barrier, and the track crew right now is finishing up the cleanup.
Dennis Setzer started on the pole today, and now he leads once again. There's been 5 different drivers that have been out in front. 8 changes for that top spot. Our average speed continues to go down as we continue under caution conditions. 5 cautions for just over 22 laps now. Chrissy Wallace currently running in the 20th spot after starting 29th, staying on the lead lap. And we touched a little bit on the Wallace family earlier in our Aaron's Lucky Guess trivia question. Chrissy Wallace, she'll be the 5th famous Wallace family member to race at Gateway International Raceway. Who had the best finish between, well, they gave it away. They answered it.
And I knew what it was. And actually, during the commercial break,
wait a minute.
Russell asked me if I knew who it was. I said it was Mike. And I said he finished 2nd. And he said, well, who was he driving for? I didn't know that, so he got mad at me. But it was actually Evernham Motorsports is who Mike was driving for when he finished 2nd in the 2005 Nationwide race.
And there he is, right there. And sometimes he spots, and sometimes he just gives advice.
Sometimes he's dad, and sometimes he's well, he's probably always dad.
Yeah, always father.
He's going to be busy tomorrow evening in Richmond, Virginia, in the Nationwide race.
A little bit of racing, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening in Richmond. We're about to go back to racing. We're going to slip away to another commercial break. Be right back for the green flag.
Welcome back to Gateway International Raceway, the Camping World 200 presented on Speed by Dodge. And let's see if we can talk to our race leader right now, Dennis Setzer. Hey, Dennis Setzer, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
Sure, sounds good, Phil.
That clean air seems to really work well for that Dodge. What do you got for the end of this thing?
Things been pretty good on the long run. You know, it's nice to finally get some clean air on the front of this thing. Parker Schrichter made a good call, getting some 2 tires, get a little track position. We'll see what she does out front. I think 2 tires might be okay at this deal. I've seen this tire work a lot of places, Richmond a lot of places on 2 tires. So I'll let you know here in a few laps.
All right, buddy. I know you got to concentrate. I wanted to go get ready for this restart. Thanks, Dennis.
Guys, appreciate it, ma'am.
All right, Ray, what's going on down there on pit road?
Well, Phil, just want to let you know, Lori Hamilton, who's co-owner of this team, is actually on an airplane right now and has no idea that Dennis even won the pole or is doing so well here at Gateway. She was in L.A. last night for a Stand Up to Cancer event trying to do some fundraising, and she has no idea that they've had such a great day here. Be a really cool thing if Setzer's able to pull off this victory. Remember, they got that big win at Martinsville in the hometown for Bobby Hamilton Racing, Virginia.
Dennis Setzer bringing the field back to the green flag. Randy Kaiser piloting the pace truck will pull off through the hard left onto pit road. And we're about to get back underway with racing at Gateway. 41 laps remaining when they get to the start-finish line. It'll be 40 to go. Again, it's Setzer in front of Johnny Benson, Matt Kraft, and Ron Hornaday, and Eric Darnell. Green in the air. We're back underway.
Good restart by Dennis Setzer. Johnny Benson right there. Matt Crafton. First time we've seen Matt running up front here. And we've got Ron Hornaday with 4 fresh tires right behind that 88 of Matt Crafton.
Hornaday has been so strong today. He's led the most laps.
Justin Marks, the 9 truck right now. He's a lap down. He's battling to try to stay in that position so he can get the next Aaron's Lucky Dog if we have one. Ooh, trouble. And here comes an Aaron's Lucky Dog right now.
Problems there. It looks as though 3 different trucks involved and more starting to pile up behind them.
Completely blocked the racetrack. You see all these guys stopping. You see Colin Brown had a top 10 run going. There's Terry Cook. He's involved. You see a left front tire cut down on his Weiler.com Toyota. There's Jason White, the 08 right there, the Gunbroker.com Dodge. Quite a bit of trouble on the racetrack, and that may have worked for Justin Marks. He may have been in line to get that Aaron's Lucky Dog, but tough break for Terry Cook and his Weiler.com Toyota. Terry's a former race winner here.
Right now, you got a lot of smoke coming off the left front, but it might not be as bad as it looks. If they get it in there soon enough, they can get it off that tire and get it changed.
Which is O'Brien Scott also spun and was involved in this most recent incident, but a lot of damage to the left front of that 60 of Terry Cook. Take another look.
Look back to your right of your screen. Looks like the 0, is that the 08?
Yep, that gunbrokers.com truck gets turned around.
Yeah, and Terry Cook comes along and hits him with the left front corner. Then the racetrack is essentially blocked.
It didn't look like Terry Cook had anywhere to go as the 08 went up the track. Terry looked like he started to go to the outside, and that's where he just collected him there.
Looks like the 16 of Brian Scott ran into the back of the 6 of Colin Brown.
They call that the boxcar effect.
Or the 60 of Terry Cook.
Let's ride along with Ted Musgrave and see what he saw in this incident.
There's Ted on the outside. These guys are already spinning. Ted looks like he might have made a little bit of contact with Jason White. See Mike Skinner able to get through. There goes Mark Davis, the 81 Chevrolet.
Following behind that 60 of Terry Cook. That was the one that was smoking so hard. Now you see they're changing that left front tire. Obviously not a sticker tire going back on. Probably don't have sticker tires remaining from this team.
It's probably one of the tires that they have taken off this truck at some point during the race.
Put that back on if they do some work to that front left fender. We take another look. There's the 08 getting turned around right in front of the 6 of Colin Brown.
Yeah, then it's just a chain reaction deal there. Terry Cook getting involved. Ted Musgrave, Colin Brown gets turned around. Ted Musgrave did get a little damage from that contact with Jason White. Jack Smith comes along in the 63 truck.
It's just enough damage where it's about forces them to come onto pit road and spend the time to get the sheet metal away from the sidewall just to prevent any tires from going flat. Several of them were on pit road. Some of them have them jacked up right there, just making sure they got good clearance.
Yeah, Brian Scott ran into the back of Terry Cook. Chad McCumbee in turn runs in the back of Brian Scott in the 16 truck. Rick Crawford goes by on the grass on the inside. Another shot from the Toyota onboard of Ted Musgrave. See this guy sliding up in front of him. Ted almost gets by. If he had a little bit more room on the outside, but again, we're seeing it from a little different angle. He has a lot of smoke to contend with as well.
No, it's easy sitting there from where we're at because we could see the whole thing happening, but out the windshield of Ted Musgrave's truck there wasn't nothing but smoke, and the next thing you see is the quarter panel of the truck in front of you that he just barely clips, and that gives him the damage on the left front.
On the tow truck is that 08 of Jason White. So it will go back into the garage. That is what brought out our 6th caution of the day, and a chain reaction behind him. The 08 of Jason White gets turned around. With Crawford involved in this, one of our top 5 point contenders.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is presented on speed by Dodge. Live life to the fullest. Dodge. Grab life. Brought to you in part by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. And by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
And again, welcome back to Gateway International Raceway. This the 17th race of the 2008 season. We will have 8 races remaining at the conclusion of this one. And it is Johnny Benson who is trying to add to his lead over Ron Hornaday. But the battle continues on the racetrack. It is the 18 of Dennis Setzer that is leading Johnny Benson around this 1.25-mile racetrack.
Remember, we talked about Mike Skinner not having any shot because of that pit road penalty. He has made his way up to 11th because of all those trucks that were on the lead that been involved in that accident. So he's got a good shot at a good top, maybe even a top 5 finish.
How about Matt Crafton? Also in the top 3 on the racetrack, currently 3rd in the point standings. What a great 2008 season he has had.
It's hard to gain many points on Johnny Benson when he's running 2nd in this race, and he won, what, 4 out of 5 races in 1 point.
Yeah.
Just a few races ago.
Very impressive 2008 season for Johnny Benson. Green flag back in the air. Can the 18 of Dennis Setzer hold off Johnny Benson as the final 34 laps click away?
Good start by Dennis Setzer. Drives right down to the bottom of the racetrack.
You got Ron Hornaday sitting there 4th.
Going for third right now, Doug.
Maybe not for long. Looks to the inside of that 88 of Matt Crafton.
This is when they have to make the move. They want to make the move quick on these restarts. Get whatever position they can get to get up towards the front. And that's exactly what Hornaday is doing there. He's in third. You got Jack back there in seventh.
Eric Darnell trying to go by that 88 of Matt Crafton. Looks as though he was going to take that spot. And so Setzer, Benson, Hornaday, Darnell, and Crafton are your top 5 now.
I think right now Dennis Setzer's thinking about when is Ron Hornaday going to get to me. He knows by now that Ron Hornaday got 4 tires. Dennis Setzer got 2 tires to get to track position. He's making it work, but he's got 33 more laps to go.
That's a lot of laps right here. And those 4 tires and the way that Hornaday's truck looks, he's still very strong. That's tough to look at in your mirror right there when you see those guys coming like that. You see him right here on Johnny Benson. He's going to make the move to the inside.
Ron Hornaday so strong today in that Camping World Chevrolet. Johnny Benson trying to keep the momentum up on the bottom of the racetrack. Get back to the inside of that 33.
Great battle. Looked like Johnny was going to fight back on the inside, not quite able to do it. Right now, Dennis Setzer just has to run his race, but he's so experienced in these kind of races. He knows what he's doing. If he has a truck that can hold off Ron Hornaday, he'll do it. If not, they're not going to crash for this lead, I'll guarantee you.
Well, I don't want to be, the one who points out the obvious, but parity is at its best right now. We've got a Dodge, a Chevrolet, a Toyota, and a Ford in your top 4.
It doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
That's as close as I think it gets. And we've got them with 31 laps to go. The 4 manufacturers in the top 4 positions on the racetrack.
Some of them might not be happy in the order that they're running, but they all are up front. That's a great battle here with Hornaday taking a look to the inside now.
Take a look at the wins for the manufacturers at this racetrack. Fairly even.
Spread out pretty evenly with Chevrolet and Dodge with 3 apiece. Now Ron Hornaday is on the back tailgate of that 18 truck of Dennis Setzer.
This top 5 is really tightening up now as Todd Bodine throws the Lumber Liquidators 30 Toyota Tundra up into the mix. Oh, what a close call there. It looks as though there might have been contact. I think Eric Darnell may have kissed the wall coming out of 2.
But meanwhile, we've got a battle for the lead. Hornaday goes to first.
Here comes Johnny Benson now, looking to the inside of Dennis Setzer as well. Hornaday back in front of the field at Gateway.
Right now, probably the second best truck on the racetrack is his teammate, Jack Sprague, and he's got several trucks in between him. Good news for Ron Hornaday.
Ron Hornaday so strong today. He's led the most laps at this racetrack. 3 wide as they work their way into turn number 1. That's Skinner and the 11 of David Starr, the 14 of Rick Crawford moving up there as well.
I think that moved Skinner all the way to the 7th position, so nice recovery for him.
Amazing recovery. We're hearing that Eric Darnell did not hit the wall. A very close call coming out of turn number 2.
But he did lose that spot to the 30 of Todd Bodine.
Ron Hornaday now with just 28 laps remaining. He has about a 4/10 of a second lead over Dennis Setzer. And then Johnny Benson back there with Todd Bodine and Eric Darnell lurking.
Jack Sprague at the end.
Whoa, we got problems with the 11 of David Starr. He gets into the inside wall. Hard contact. That brings out our 7th caution of the day.
David was in a hard battle with the 14 of Rick Crawford and the 88 of Matt Crafton. Considerable amount of damage to the front of that Red Horse Toyota.
Track position being so pivotal on this racetrack. We would expect to see all of our lead lap most of our lead lap trucks that are in contention for the win to stay on the track.
Doug, I think you have to stay out. They last pitted on lap 104. We've had a number of cautions, but the tires aren't falling off that much. Todd Bodine, as a matter of fact, ran his fastest lap about 4 laps ago on lap number 129, so I think you got to stay out.
If I'm sitting on top of that box and I've got a truck running in the top 7 there, I'm staying out. I am not going to give up the track position right now at this point of the state. We got 27 laps to go. It's probably going to be 25, 24 laps to go when we get the track cleaned up here, and I would not give up track position for that.
We see David Starr taking his helmet off as he's got the safety net down. He was on the inside of the 14 as we look back here.
He got in the throttle a little bit and then actually made just a little bit of contact with Rick, and that just sent him towards the inside. He's going to make hard contact with that inside wall right there.
You see that so many times when a truck on the inside gets together. It's like an automatic touch, and it just shoves the nose to the inside, and he spins them, spin out. And that's exactly what happened to David Starr there.
We saw Bobby East get loose coming off turn number 2 early in the race, and he made contact with that inside wall. We're going to see another view of it. You see David's already extremely loose when he made contact with the 14 of Rick Crawford, but that's at speed, so that's how fast it really happens. When we see it in slow motion, it looks like maybe he would have an opportunity to do something different, but nothing you can do. You're just along for the ride.
The good thing is you see him walking towards the ambulance there. It was a good hard hit, but NASCAR's safety checks that they do for us and the seats and everything we run nowadays, the trucks are really safe. And you can see right there with him walking away with that kind of frontal impact like that, it says a lot for the safety inspections that we all go through.
So the safety crews will take care of the 11, get it back into the garage. They'll try to load it back on the hauler. Ron Hornaday holding off Dennis Setzer.
With only 8 races to go, the trucks head north to New Hampshire next week. Can defending race winner Ron Hornaday close the gap on points leader Johnny Benson? It all starts with the setup at 2:30, live from Loudon, only on Speed.
Ron Hornaday trying to cut into a little bit of that point lead today at Gateway, but it's next week, Saturday, September 13th, when we travel to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Qualifying at 10 a.m., then the setup with Chris Devoda at 2:30 and 3 o'clock the race. Those of you joining us, expecting to see NASCAR racing today, we thank you for riding along with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Join us next week. We head on to Loudon, New Hampshire.
We are NASCAR racing, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, actually. Sprint Cup and Nationwide Series. Maybe I can clarify that a little better.
Can we give the phone number from Martinsville?
877-7222. Look up on Speed TV for that one. That'll help you out. SpeedTV.com. Well, the lights are off on the pace truck, meaning he's going to make the hard left turn, make his way onto pit road. It's Ron Hornaday's race to lose right now. He's been so good on not only restarts, but the longer runs. Can anybody get by him? The closest competitor is Dennis Setzer, right on his back bumper. Hornaday brings the field to the green flag. We're back underway.
Not only is Ron good on these restarts, but for a lap or two, that's when he's made the majority of his passes on these restarts. And Dennis Setzer all over the back of him right now, though.
Dennis Setzer very strong on flat tracks and short tracks. This one 1.25 miles. Let's see if he can take advantage of this restart. It looks as though Johnny Benson's going to look to the inside. That's a battle for the second spot.
Yeah, Dennis able to pull away through the center of the corner from Johnny Benson. Johnny has Todd Bodine to contend with right now. Todd's all over the back of Johnny.
I think it's a tendency when you're running behind someone, you run in the corner there, and you just always want to kind of keep your nose in some clean air there. We got the pass right there. We got Brendan Gaughan going underneath.
He gets by the 88 of Matt Crafton. That moves Brendan up probably to the 9th or 10th position.
He struggled very much on qualifying today and has been able to bounce back from that and end up having a good run here in the St. Louis area. We see Colin Brown dropping back a bit as the 59 of Ted Musgrave gets by, and Ted so strong at this racetrack, 2 wins previously, now trying to move his way by the 88 of Matt Crafton.
It's a battle for the 11th position right there. Matt Crafton has 11th, Ted Musgrave right now running 12th.
Our most recent caution came when David Starr got into the inside wall. He's now outside the infield care center with Adam Alexander.
Yeah, he has emerged just fine, obviously, but David, what happened on track?
Well, just good hard racing. Our Red Horse racing Toyota Tundra was pretty awesome today. Just racing hard, just dicing. Rick Crawford, I got underneath Rick, getting into 1 and coming off 2. Everything was good. We're just racing hard, but it seemed like he came off the wall, kind of came down on me, and instead of running into him, I tried to stay off of him, and we got the worst end of it. But just disappointed for my team. We're having a great run, going to have a good finish, but rather than take somebody else out, I ended up taking myself out. Just disappointed for my team, but we're having a great race, and they got a good race going on out there. Just disappointed I'm not a part of it.
His 8th top 10 of the year in sight. The former winner not going to finish here today.
So the field's stringing out now the top 10. Ted Musgrave trying to break into that top 10. Brendan Gaughan holding on to the 10th spot. It's Hornaday, Setzer, Benson, Bodine, and Darnell. They're your top 5. There you see those top 5 all spread out on the racetrack.
It looked like Dennis could maybe stay with them there in the beginning of the run, but we got the 51 going underneath the 21 truck here.
Kevin Wood, the 21 Air Force truck, he is on the lead lap. He got a lucky dog, and that's Shane Sieg in the 51 truck. That is a battle for the 15th position as we go back up front here. That's 7th and 8th right there. Mike Skinner has made his way all the way back up for 7th, and there's Rick Crawford right now running 8th.
Rick Crawford involved in that most recent caution with David Starr. He got extremely sideways when Starr got into the left rear of his truck, but was able to keep it going in the right direction. And we see Brian Scott making the pass on Kevin Wood. Brian Scott in that red number 16. Leading by Kevin Wood in the 21.
Remember, Brian had a great qualifying effort there and was running a strong race somewhere around the top 10 when we had that incident earlier over in turns 3 and 4. He, among a lot of other guys involved in that incident.
Rick Crawford trying to hold on to his position of 8th. Mike Skinner just in front of him. Jack Sprague. We talked about how strong the Kevin Harvick Incorporated team has been. Ron Hornaday has led the most laps today. Jack Sprague we thought would be a contender, but he has not been able to get by some of these trucks up toward the front since he's been relegated back to around 5th and 6th.
Remember when he came off pit road, though, he and his teammate battling for position off pit road. Jack made contact with the tires right on the against the outside wall, so maybe that has affected his truck a little bit.
And not only making contact with the tires, he does damage to the fenders, and he's running in behind the draft of the truck in front of him. And I'm sure he doesn't have the front downforce that he wants.
Oh, we're hearing problems for the 9. There you see it. Justin Marks, a lot of damage to the back end of that truck. So our 8th caution of the day has come out. Justin Marks dropping the window net, signifying that he is okay.
Justin was running in the 20th position. He was on the lead lap. He was one of the drivers that got a lucky dog, but unfortunately his day is going to end prematurely with 15 laps to go.
I don't think there's any fixing that truck there. It's too much damage, and only with 15 laps to go, I don't think they'll ever get it fixed right. NASCAR gives you one shot to get back out on the track and get up to the minimum speed there before they actually give you the black flag, and they don't let you make any more laps. So you have to take the extra time early on to fix these trucks, and I don't think he's just got the time to get that one fixed to head in the right direction.
No, you see that right rear tire sticking out from the side of that truck. That means the rear end housing is really shifted over there.
Now, if you could build this into the truck and still have a nice straight truck on the left side, that's good side force. So,
Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, just to add on the Justin Marks story a little bit, we expect a press release coming out of Germain Racing at the beginning of next week, a little bit about what all Justin will be doing the rest of the year. We know there will be a couple of different drivers in this 9 truck, so all of that is still getting sorted out, and they'll give us some information about it next week. Justin going to run some ARCA REMAX Series races and possibly some nationwide races. All those details aren't completely straightened out yet, but they said by the 1st of next week we should know who else we'll be able to see in the 9 truck throughout the course of 2008.
So it's good to see Justin Marks out of that race truck. He is okay. The Aaron's lucky dog goes to the 71 of Andy Lally. So Andy will come on to pit road. Looks like he will top off the fuel, maybe make a chassis adjustment to that truck and make his way back out onto the racetrack. So Andy Lally scored in the 21st spot, means we have 21 trucks on the lead lap. Ron Hornaday continuing to lead. He has led 99 laps up to this point. Second most laps led. The 18 of Dennis Setzer had led 20. Mike Skinner led 18 laps early in this race. Johnny Benson was out front for 6 laps. And Jack Sprague led 3 laps today. All of those drivers get 5 bonus points for leading a lap. And then Ron Hornaday will get the additional 5 bonus points for leading the most laps.
Rick, let's see if we can make contact with our 3rd place driver right now, Johnny Benson, and point leading Johnny Benson. Hey, JB, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
Yeah, Phil, go on.
Has got a good run going right now, running third with just inside of 15 laps to go. You have anything for those two trucks in front of you?
Well, if you watched a little earlier, I was in front of them. I ain't got nothing for them. Like you say, Trip Bruce and everybody on the Toyota certified used vehicles just doing a great job. We just ain't got nothing for these guys today.
Johnny, we saw you get that damage coming off pit road earlier. Has that affected your truck?
I didn't know I got any damage. I know I got a tire mark in the door, but so far now I can't feel any effects from it whatsoever. That's pretty good, Phil.
All right, man. Finish it off with good finish.
All right, 10-4. Thanks, guys.
Hey, check that out. Speed, St. Louis. Some young fans enjoying the race today.
I think when Johnny gets out of the truck, he's going to see that he's probably got a little bit more damage than he realizes. He thinks he might have a tire mark, but if you used to put a straight edge on that, it's probably 6 to 8 inches from where it should be. So
he definitely has a tire mark, but he has a whole lot more than that, as we can see from that.
He's got
view.
a tire mark, a splitter mark.
That's a wrinkle.
Yeah.
That's a replace the side on that truck when they get home.
And the fab shop's already got a plan for that if they plan on taking this truck to Loudon next week.
And so the field continuing to work their way around this 1.25 mile racetrack. And Ron Hornaday looking to find victory lane for his record-setting, 390th time. Ron Hornaday always in victory lane, it seems like. He has 36 career wins coming into this race. Let's go down to his crew chief, who is with Ray Dunlap.
And that would be Rick Wren. Rick, has things played out the way you expected today here at Gateway?
Well, I really wasn't sure where we were going to be this morning because we made some changes. But tell you what, when we qualified good, I felt a lot better. So, I'm not taking any chances. We're racing for a championship, so I put on 4 tires both times, and a bunch of guys got in front of us with 2. And, well, I didn't know if we were going to get back around them, but, I guess our truck's pretty good, and Horn's up on the wheel pretty hard, and he got through them guys pretty good. He's never won here. I think he wants to win really bad. So I think that Tampa World Chevrolet it'll be tough for somebody to pass him. Let's put it that way.
Brand new truck for you guys this week, and you've led the most laps, done pretty much everything you needed.
Make sure you turn your blowers on.
Telling Ron to turn the blowers on. You got to be proud of the team, what the effort they put together.
Oh, I'm going to tell you what, this truck had never seen the racetrack till yesterday, and I told the guys in the meeting today I'm really proud of them. They've done an awesome job, built another brand new truck, and if we can get through these rest of this race, it's ran flawless. So my hat's off to all my guys and Kevin and Delana for letting us do this to race for a championship.
All right, go get him. That's Rick Wren, crew chief for Ron Hornaday. And of course, guys, he turns his blowers off during caution to try to keep his tire pressures up as we were going to have a short run to the finish here.
Keep that heat up in the tires and keep the pressures up. Now they come back to the green flag, and we're back underway at Gateway. Just 12 laps. Make that 11 laps remaining from Gateway International Raceway.
See Skinner moved down to the inside of Sprague, trying to take over that 6th position.
Jack Sprague able to stay in front of him. Your top 5, Ron Hornaday, Dennis Setzer, Johnny Benson, Todd Bodine, and Eric Darnell.
Good battle right there. Ted Musgrave's Toyota on board, battling with Brendan Gaughan and that Max Force Ford.
That's for the 10th spot. Ted Musgrave takes it away. Now Colin Brown looking to the inside of Brendan Gaughan as well.
See the signal for the flag, man. 10 laps to go.
Colin Brown, he was involved in that accident earlier there. As he's making a good comeback. He had quite a bit of damage from that accident. And you see him there getting a position on Brendan Gaughan. So
Brendan got in that corner a little bit hard. He had to chase it up the hill and then got loose up there in the 3rd lane.
Mark Davis is doing exactly what he needed to do. He's running the laps. He's still running.
Doing a great job.
Kevin Wood with a nice run going with that Air Force Ford. There's Jeff Green in that 40 truck. We haven't talked a whole lot about him. He got in Aaron's lucky dog, and he's on the lead lap, and that is a battle for position.
Inside of 10 laps remaining from Gateway. And now 3 and 4 wide back here in the field.
We're racing all over this racetrack.
Mark Davis looking to have a top 15 run in this Randy Moss Motorsports number 81. And he had his hands full moments ago.
Couple on that Shane Sieg. Look at right of your screen. He got a little bit of a tap from that, or a tap into that 81 of Mark Davis. That got Mark up the hill, got him a little bit loose.
He did a good job holding on to that truck. You know, his main goal today is just get laps under his belt there and get a good finish. You got Colin Brown going underneath Chad McCumbee here. Gets the position on him, and he continues to move forward there with that damage.
You know, youth is really being served in this series. There, Mark Davis, he's just a couple months past his 18th birthday. And what Colin Brown is, what, 19 years old or something like that? Man, oh man, some young guys are doing a nice job.
The NASCAR Craftsman Series is a great stepping stone to move up into the Nationwide Series and move up into the Sprint Cup Series. And you see them do it all the time. Some take a bigger step than others, but there's several young guys in this race today that love to get up here.
There's that, you know, very old Eric Darnell, who's 25.
That really old guy, yes.
Well, we typically, because he was talking earlier in the qualifying show, I think, about somebody turning 30 and how old they are. Yeah. So we got to give it back to Eric a little bit.
Todd Bodine doing a little slicing and dicing there back on the back straightaway with Eric Darnell and Jack Sprague behind him.
Field continuing to battle side by side. Mike Lynette in the 22 on the inside of Jack Smith. That's 63. 6 laps of racing remaining. It's the 33, the Camping World Chevrolet of Ron Hornaday, who has led the most laps, has been the dominant truck here today. A lot of times, though, when you are the dominant truck, you're not able to win the race, but it looks as though Ron Hornaday wants to change that statistic. Side-by-side racing. Jack Sprague on the inside of that 99 of Eric Darnell.
Jack got a great run coming off turn number 2, was able to pull beside the 99 of Eric Darnell and able to make the pass before they got to turn 3.
5 to go. The signal from the flag man down to the competitors. Jack Sprague now in front of that 99. Mike Skinner trying to make the pass. Rick Crawford just behind them in the 14. He's running in the 8th position. Ted Musgrave, Colin Brown rounding out our top 10. Crawford all over the back bumper now of the 5 of Mike Skinner. That will be a race for the 7th spot. And a race for position in the point standings. Skinner just in front of Rick Crawford in our point standings coming into this race.
Ron Hornaday ran his fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago, and Dennis Setzer ran his fastest lap of the race 3 laps ago. These guys are saving their best for the end.
They are looking so strong. Ron Hornaday, Dennis Setzer, 1 and 2. Skinner and Crawford still haven't decided who's going to hold on to that 7th spot. Skinner wants it. Obviously, Crawford would love it as well. There's the separation between 1 and 2. 3 laps to go. Dennis Setzer chasing the 33 of Ron Hornaday, waiting for a bobble. Will Ron Hornaday bobble? He doesn't normally.
You see Dennis Setzer right now. He's only about 3/10 of a second behind Ron Hornaday. But Dennis is doing all he can do right now. His tongue's hanging out and saying, I can't catch this guy.
He is so close, but he can't reel him in. They continue to work through that wide sweeping 3 and 4 now. 2 laps of racing to go from Gateway.
You ride there in second position, like you said, Phil, and he's trying everything he can do to get there. You know he's using the brakes as hard as he can do. He's driving it hard, but right now he's just going to be the first loser.
I can't even imagine what Dennis Setzer is doing right now in that truck, trying to reel in the 33, but really a flawless race for this whole 33 team. Ron Hornaday has been extremely strong. The truck was so good. And he gets the white flag. 1 to go for Ron Hornaday.
Well, let's take nothing away from Dennis Setzer and that entire BHR effort as well, with the pole position today, and looks like headed maybe towards the top 2 finish.
Behind them, so strong this season, the 23 of Johnny Benson, the 30 of Todd Bodine, and the 2 of Jack Sprague. Those were your top 5 when they crossed the start-finish line. Now, just 2 turns remain. Ron Hornaday goes through 3 and 4. The crowd is on their feet, cheering on. Ron Hornaday coming to his 37th career win. First win in Gateway for Ron Hornaday.
Had a great battle for 4th. Todd Bodine and Jack Sprague went through 3 and 4 side by side, and they were side by side at the start finish line. There's another good battle. Looked like Kevin Wood and Mark Davis, and the battle for 15th.
Side by side battle that was won by Kevin Wood. Very close race there to the start-finish line. Ron Hornaday, what an amazing story he is putting together here in 2008. The 50-year-old out of Palmdale, California, comes home with his first win at Gateway International Raceway. So he will celebrate in Victory Lane when we return. A great battle in the point standings continues to grow. The Camping World 200 presented on Speed by Dodge, won by Hornaday. Welcome back. Ron Hornaday carrying the checkered flag for the 4th time in 2008. He became just the 10th different winner in 11 races here at Gateway. Let's go to second place. Dennis Setzers with Adam Alexander.
And it's his 3rd top 5 of the year on the pole. I know how bad you wanted this one. What was the difference there at the end, Dennis?
Ron just got by us there. We were a little tight in the center of 1 and 2. You know, I applaud Marcus Richmond. You know, he got 2 tires that last stop. Kind of did what he had to out there to get us back some track position. We lost some earlier on a couple of stops, and you know, I applaud what he did. I've seen 2 tires work on this thing. This little Dodge stayed pretty good on 2 tires, so you know, my hats off to BHR and all the people there, the owners and all the employees and everything, everyone that stuck this deal out. Lori Hamilton, you know, she's such a trooper on this deal, but I really appreciate the opportunity to be here presented by Dodge.
Only 1 truck this weekend, but you guys had a top 10 at Bristol, top 5 today. Congratulations on the momentum. Dennis Setzer, a runner-up. Ray?
Well, Ron Hornaday has pulled his Camping World Chevrolet into Victory Lane. He's got the checkered flag here. He comes up into a brand new Victory Lane here at Gateway International Raceway. It is win number 37. He gets the congratulations from Rick Wren. Ron, come on out when you're ready there. The celebration is about ready to begin as he gets the helmet and the Hans device off. And Hornaday gets his 4th win of 2008. It's a 3rd different truck that he's brought to Victory Lane this season. Crew gives him a big high five. Ron, brand new race truck, brand new and unproven, and it showed that this team has got her back going in the right direction.
Okay, we just had to build a new Victory Lane here, and it's beautiful. Everybody's got a superstition, and they do driver's intro here, so I kind of walked around, hopefully, but we're finally here. This is cool. Rick Wren, all the guys at Kevin Harvick Incorporated, this is for them in Camping World. A brand new truck, and I drove my guts out, and they fixed these brakes, and I tell you, it really shows. I mean, this truck was awesome all day. Jack got in the back of me, come off the corner. I got tied behind Skinner. And after that, I don't know what happened to Jack. But other than that, great call on Rick putting 4 tires on at the end. And, gosh, it's cool. This is a lot of fun.
You've got some pretty cool trophies this year, some races that you had circled on your calendar you definitely wanted to win with Texas, Memphis, and now here.
Well, Honda said they got the brand new camouflage generator, so I had to win that one. And Kevin, they said they're going to help us out, support the go-karts at the track. So we're looking good. It's not what we wanted on Johnny. We need a little bit more, but we need to finish 3rd or something like that. But leading the most laps, this is what KHI is all about, building new trucks and going out and doing that. I got to thank Rick Corelli and all the guys back here and Rick Wren. This is so much fun. And RVs.com, man, I'm going to forget everybody. It doesn't matter. I had a lot of fun, and this is what it's all about. This is what championship's all about.
All right, congratulations. If he gets 20 points every week, it'll be pretty close at the end of the season, guys.
Lindy celebrating with him. Take a look at the point standings. Johnny Benson, Ron Hornaday, again, unofficial point standings. Closing the gap, Johnny Benson and Hornaday. Hornaday, if he was able to win, it would be the first ever back-to-back championship in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We'll be right back. Close out the show after this.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Welcome back. NASCAR Racing from Gateway International Raceway. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series completing the 17th race of the 2008 season from just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, in Madison, Illinois, just across the river. And it was Ron Hornaday who was the dominant truck today. We want to take a look at today's Stay in the Game with Just for Men hair color moments. And there were a few moments, actually, that took place for Ron Hornaday. The move to get by Mike Skinner. A little close call there, maybe even a little contact.
Mike had stayed out early on a caution flag. Ron Hornaday made there's a close call, very close to that outside wall.
And then Ron Hornaday was able to get by Dennis Setzer and claim the checkered flag in the stay in the game with Just for Men hair color moments. Celebration continuing in victory lane for Ron Hornaday. He brings Chevrolet their 6th win in the 2008 season and getting that much closer to another championship. 4 championships possible for Ron Hornaday?
Well, right now he's got Johnny Benson with a little bit of a lead, but when he puts on an exhibition like he did here today, though, you can certainly not count Ron Hornaday out.
Take a look at our unofficial results for today's race. The Ron Hornaday, Dennis Setzer, Johnny Benson, Todd Bodine, and Jack Sprague. Again, pretty good as far as parity in the sport with the manufacturers.
See, Chad McCumbee gets an 11th place finish. Kevin Wood gets a good run there in top 15 finish, his best career finish.
I think we've also got to give a shout out to that 81 of Mark Davis in his first ever race. He did a great job, got a top 16 finish, finished in the 16th spot. So Randy Moss Motorsports giving him an opportunity, and he took advantage of it today. Ron Hornaday looks as though he's going to start his generator. Well, he started the engines earlier. He started on the outside of row number 1. And again, the winner has come from the first 2 rows in Gateway. Next Saturday, we move on to Loudon, New Hampshire. New Hampshire Motor Speedway qualifying. Join us at 10 a.m. Then the setup with Chris Devoda at 2:30. 3 o'clock, the green flag flies for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Thanks for joining us. Doug Richard, thanks for joining us up in the booth. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.